Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Their heartbeat is level, very even. The Tigers seemingly never panic. Sunday, a 3-2 win was their 12th one-run win this year, second in the series against Chicago, and that is third most in the majors. Today, they welcome in one of the more exciting and talented teams in all of baseball on a very special holiday, a special Memorial Day where we honor those who have fallen, but those who serve our great nation. We bring you the Angels and Tigers here on Fox Sports Detroit. Hi, everyone, alongside 1984 world champion Rod Allen. I am Matt Shepard. A very special day today, no question about it, and a special series for the Tigers, who seemingly have that ability to pick it up when they need it most. What's the key to winning one-run games, Rod?
You know, Shep, I think for about 5 years there, the Tigers had a team that feasted on a lot of home runs to win games. But nowadays, they got guys that can steal bases. They run the bases very well. It's a different kind of team. That's why they run a lot of close games.
Yeah, Angels do the same, but not quite as many. They're 9-6 in one-run games, and the Angels possess one of the more exciting players in the world, Mike Trout. What do you like about him?
Well, he's got a lot of power. I mean, this guy used to be a guy that really loved the ball down in the strike zone, but he's made some adjustments. He drives the ball out of the ballpark no matter which part of the ballpark he reaches. You can see his legs. They're so big and strong and physical. They help him get down the line in under 4 seconds. He also steals lots of bases. He has 12 steals this year. He hasn't been caught, and defensively always seems to be in the right place. This guy's a dynamic player. Hopefully he doesn't get loose here for the next 4 days against the Tigers.
One of many that we can't wait to watch in an Angels uniform. Matthew Boyd gets the call. How does he stop him and some of the other potent weapons in that lineup?
Well, the perfect remedy would be you have to pitch around him if you get yourself in a situation where there's runners in scoring position. But I don't expect Matthew Boyd to change. Lots of off-speed pitches this year, lots of soft contact. Keep him off balance. He should have success today.
It's a gorgeous day. It's going to be a blast calling this one. Mickey York, I know you're excited to be here as well.
Welcome to the Coliseum Studio. It'll be an honor to bring you today's Memorial Day broadcast. Several special events planned during today's broadcast. We'll carry God Bless America live for you during the 7th inning today. All of Major League Baseball will observe a moment of remembrance for today's fallen soldiers during this afternoon's game, and we'll be visiting with families and several service veterans to say thank you here today. It'll be a day of tribute and remembrance as we honor the fallen on Memorial Day 2018. Visit Kroger.com for great deals, digital coupons, and more. Comerica Bank, raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Tigers and Angels, first pitch coming up next.
Flags unfurl, and the uniforms are pressed. The mission continues for dignity, honor, and respect. The roar of engines signals a call to salute. To those on their final flight, we pay tribute. Our nation's most sacred ground awaits, with an embrace from the men and women who shared their same heroic fate.
It's an emotional day, full of parades, a lot of honors, a lot of salutes, and rightfully so. Thanks to all the brave men and women who served today, and we think of those who've lost to keep us safe and free. Matthew Boyd makes his first career start, first ever appearance, Rod Allen, against the Angels. What's he done so well this year for?
Well, he's been outstanding, but he had to leave his last start after just 4 innings with an oblique spasm. He went about his regular work routine through the course of the week with no problems, but he's had a really good fastball that touches about 91, 92. A couple different breaking balls, the slider and the curveball. His changeup has been a very good pitch all season for Matthew.
Matthew Boyd and the Tigers starting pitcher, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. ready to take on an Angels team that is 17-7 on the road. Their batting order presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Zach Cozart, who leads off. That's .333 on the road, just a .149 at home. The former Tiger Justin Upton, 22 ribbies in the month of May. That's third best in the American League. And Ian Kinsler has struggled this year, but last year was his fourth year with the Tigers. Scored 90 runs and ranked fourth in the American League, running second baseman with 22 bombs. The first pitch in there for a strike against Zach Cozart. And what a gorgeous Monday afternoon. Glad you could spend it with us here on Fox Sports Detroit. Boyd works quickly, and that has been a difference from early part of his career, Rod Allen. Why has it helped him so much, do you think?
It gives him less time to think about what he wants to throw. And I think that was the method behind it when Chris Bosio gave Matthew a call in the offseason and told him he wanted to speed up in between pitches. Outstanding breaking ball there thrown by Matthew. Pretty much has done that at will this year against righties and lefties. He'll throw that breaking ball at any count.
In tight, 2-2. Angels offense has struggled over the last 15 games. They've scored 3 runs or fewer in 11 of those 15.
It's a lot of right-handers in their lineup that love to pull the baseball.
And he hit him.
And Oakland University brings you the Tigers starting defense. Left to right, they've got Nico Goodrum getting the start out in left field today. And Jones in center. Castellanos, well, he's anchored over in right. The infield third to first reads Candelario, Iglesias, Machado, and John Hicks. And James Mccann, the starting catcher here this afternoon for Matthew Boyd.
Fourth time this year, Matthew Boyd has pegged a hitter. And now will face Mike Trout. Trout 17 bombs on the year, first in the American League with Mookie Betts. And the numbers are crazy.
Yeah, he's a dynamic player.
Sure is.
Universally across the game, if you ask people who they feel like the best player in our sport is, his name comes up the most.
Love watching. He's also batting .368 on the road. That is second best in the American League. But the thing you and I like about Matthew Boyd, talking to him the other day, you just love the competitive fire. He can't wait to face this type of lineup.
Well, he's got to see if he'll chase something upstairs here.
Nope.
You got to keep going up there. Trout is an outstanding low ball hitter, and that's basically where his bread is buttered. I mean, he has done major damage on balls at the knees or south of the knees. But if you can go up top and you can go away from him with a fastball, you can get a swing and a miss.
2-2. Trout is 2 days removed from a career high. Had 5 hits, 3 doubles, 4 extra base hits that tied an Angels franchise record, and 11 total bases in a win over the Yankees. Down the right field line. No man's land. Boyd with his 5th home start of the year. His 2.22 ERA at home is number 8 in the American League for pitchers in their home ballparks. Why does that suit him? Why does this ballpark suit Matthew Boyd?
Well, he's a fly ball pitcher most of the time. And Matthew Boyd gets a lot of soft contact in the air, so that works very well for him.
So a quick throw over to first. Who calls that? Is James Mccann calling that? Ron
No,
Gardenhire?
It comes from the dugout a lot of times.
Okay.
It's the bench coach, Steve Little. He's at the top step there. We'll get a shot of him after the next pitch. He's the one that goes through the signs. He's the ones that you see him going through the signs right now. Sometimes he'll tell Mccann to tell Boyd to throw over. And then there's sometimes where Boyd can just throw over on his own just to make sure that he doesn't, that base runner doesn't forget about him. Cozart at first base, not the fleetest of foot. And they signed him as a free agent. He played shortstop last year for the Cincinnati Reds. And he made an all-star team playing shortstop, but now playing third base these days. Cozart, who's on first base. Boyd doing a nice job of keeping him close.
Got Trout swinging.
And we might as well make that our bell tire pitch by pitch. It's a confrontation we'll watch all afternoon long. First of all, you have to get ahead of Mike Trout, which is what Boyd's able to do at the bottom of the strike zone. And then you go right back in there again with another breaking pitch. And now you kind of figure out what you want to do to get him up. These next couple of pitches are the ones that he's throwing to set him up. And now he has the pitch that he wants to set him up with. It's a fastball down, and he gets the swing and miss. You can see it's a two-seamer. Nice action on that pitch. Mike Trout swung right through it.
Here's Justin Upton, Angels left fielder, who did the same for the Tigers in a couple of productive seasons. Upton has 11 bombs on the year. He's the first Angels left fielder with 11 or more since Vernon Wells in 2012.
It's a long time.
Yeah, remember him? Wells used to play for Toronto too. Off speed, missed it, 2-0.
If you're Matthew Boyd, what you need right now is some soft contact, preferably on the ground. You'd like to see if you can get Justin Upton to cooperate and hit into a double play.
Two and one now.
That's the one thing you'll see a lot of Tigers pitchers do these days, Shep. Then no longer do they throw you a fastball and a 2-0 count. And that's a little breaking ball up there. He has a lot of confidence in that pitch. He could throw it at will. He could throw it whenever he wants to. So why give in to a guy like Justin when you know he's looking for a heater?
Sure, right. Well, that's why you always say the difference between a minor leaguer and a major leaguer is the ability to command your entire arsenal, whether it be 3 pitches or 4.
And keep hitters off balance.
Yeah.
And now if you're Justin Upton, you might still be thinking fastball, but in the back of your mind, you're also thinking about the fact that he just threw you a breaking ball in a fastball count. And that makes you tardy on the fastball.
Right. And it keeps you guessing, right?
You see, Justin's never tardy on a 2-1 fastball, but the thought of the 2-0 breaking ball, now he's thinking a little bit. So let me try this fastball, and he got by him.
Yeah, the mind games that are oftentimes played in this game. More so than any other, just because of how frequently you face one another and how frequently you play the game.
Matthew still looking for the ground ball. He'll take the strikeout, though.
And there it is.
Outstanding pitch sequence by Matthew Boyd, led beautifully by James Mccann. He came with an 0-2 pitch, 2-0 pitch breaking ball, and then he came back with a couple of fastballs, and he finished him off with the fastball looking at 91 on the inner third of home plate. It's a beautiful job of pitching, a wonderful pitch sequence to Justin Upton.
Here's the 3rd straight guy we won't mind seeing over the next 4 days. Albert Pujols. 1,944 career RBIs, folks. First pitch strike.
Looks like
that, by the way, ties Ty Cobb for 8th most in history.
Well, anytime you get your name mentioned in the same breath as Ty Cobb, Shep, you know you've done something awfully special.
Yeah,
when
you're
the game of baseball.
Look, when you're tying guys who the only photos you have of them are black and white, you know there's something going on, right?
That's right.
To center. Jones drifting. And not a bad start for Matthew Boyd at all. Joining this Tigers lineup, welcome back to Comerica Park on a gorgeous Monday afternoon. Here's the Tigers batting order, presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Nick Castellanos is batting .396 against lefties. That's second best in the American League. Jeimer Candelario has reached safely in 21 straight games. John Hicks in May is smoking it at .311. Today's Angels starting pitcher is Tyler Skaggs and is presented by MGM Grand Detroit. Rod, what makes him so effective?
Well, he's got 3 pitches. He's got a fastball that goes anywhere from 87 all the way up to 95 miles an hour. He's got a really sharp 12-6 breaking ball that he uses against the lefties and the righties. He also has a pretty good changeup as well. So Tyler Skaggs, pretty good left-handed pitcher for the Los Angeles Angels.
And almost unbeatable against Detroit in a couple of starts. 1-0 with a .77 ERA. 0-2 to Leonis Martin. Although you and I saw in the series against the White Sox, look at how impressive some of those numbers with some of those hurlers were, and it went right by the wayside, right?
And you never know about this Tigers team, and really they have a Tigers team that's very hungry as he carves up Martin on 3 straight pitches and finishes them off with that wicked,
nasty,
wicked breaking ball. I mean, if this is what Tyler Skaggs is going to be doing all day long, look at him flip that breaking ball up there. And Martin,
he goes back to the dugout. What's he saying to fellas?
Yeah. I had a tough time picking that one up.
Right. Now, it's even more difficult during the day, right?
I saw a lot of the Tigers watching a lot of video of him in the clubhouse before the game today, and that's the way it is when you don't see a guy all that often. They saw him last year, I believe, here at Comerica Park one time in a start. So you just don't see guys that play in the West all that often, so you really have to digest the video. But really, until you get up there and you're 60 feet 6 inches away from Shep, you really don't get an idea of what the baseball's doing.
Nick Castellanos ahead in the series, or the count now 2-0.
And he does know that Nicolas Castellanos loves to hunt fastballs early, therefore he's fallen behind Nicolas. But you see his usage this year, 58% with the fastball, 32 with that curveball. Doesn't use the change piece all that often. Looks like his game plan today might be just to pitch around Nicolas Castellanos and see if the other Tigers hitters can beat him.
Doesn't walk a lot. He's got 60 Ks and 16 free passes on the year.
And Nicolas might just have the green light right here.
Would you give it to him?
Absolutely.
Didn't get the chance.
Looks like they're going to pitch around Castellanos all day. He wasn't even close to the strike zone.
He wasn't.
And here's the Los Angeles Angels, the starting defense behind the left-hander Tyler Skaggs. And the former Tiger, and Jay Up, he's in left field. Trout Young in the outfield with Justin Upton. Mike Trout, the best player in the game of baseball these days. Their shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. If he plays for 4 straight days, you will see him do some things at the shortstop position that you see very few other shortstops do at this level.
Well, how about 3 gold gloves? Let's take that to start. 13, 14, and 17. He's a dynamite player, man. Covers a lot of ground, too. There's Jeimer Candelario.
Well, when you think of all the shortstops that have played Major League Baseball, Shep, there's only been 2 other shortstops that have won gold gloves in both leagues. Omar Vizquel, Orlando Cabrera. Of course, Vizquel won a bunch of gold gloves at the shortstop position.
Yeah, he was awesome. Simmons also the 4th Angel shortstop to win a gold glove. Jim Fregosi won it in '67.
Oh, Jim Fregosi.
Orlando Cabrera in '07 and Eric Ibar in 2011. He also led the majors with 32 defensive runs saved. That is nuts. One and two.
That's a well-located fastball there by Tyler Skaggs. When you can locate the fastball to the arm side, and what I mean by arm side is that's the outside part of the plate for him, and you can throw it right there. Look at that frame job by Maldonado. We'll get into him a little bit too, the catcher. He's pretty good. He's tough to run on.
1-2 pitch. Off speed outside. Skaggs, by the way, has a road ERA of 1.88. That is 5th best in baseball. You know who number 1 is, don't you?
Who is?
Justin Verlander.
Really?
0.26. And wait till you hear who number 2 is. This will bring a smile to your face here after this pitch. Full. Bartolo Colon is number 2. And then your preseason Cy Young Award favorite, Garrett Cole, is number 4.
I love Bartolo Colon.
Told you to bring a smile to your face. That was pretty darn close. Detroit fortunate there to make it full against Tyler Skaggs. Golf to center. 2 down. If Detroit combines for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring in a copy of the box score to participating RB's locations tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. You can find a copy of the box score in your newspaper or on the Tigers page at foxsportsdetroit.com. Skaggs has allowed 7 homers on the year. James Mccann bats in the cleanup spot for the 4th time this season.
Yeah, Victor Martinez getting the afternoon off. That's what Ron Gardenhire likes to do to Victor. On some days, he just has to get him off his feet, at least at the beginning of the contest. We might see Victor as a pinch hitter later on.
Well, when you're in the midst of a 12-game homestand and you've got 16 games over the next 15 days, you have to pick your spots, don't you?
Absolutely.
Caught the edge.
And Gardy, very popular man here in the Motor City.
Should be.
A lot of people feel like he's done a wonderful job in the first 6-7 weeks of the season. 14th season as a manager. All 13 of those prior seasons as a manager with the Minnesota Twins.
Good stop.
You got to watch Maldonado. You have to watch him, and he won a Gold Glove last year. He has a tremendous throwing arm behind the plate, and he works very well with the pitchers. Just a really good receiver. And Nicolas Castellanos doesn't steal a whole lot of bases anyway. Although if he catches you sleeping, he'll take off.
Foul down the right field line. Mccann has hit safely in 24 of the last 32 games. Had a day off yesterday for Grayson Greiner, who called a really nice game. You thought, at least you said that on Tigers Live, and had that nice double.
I really do think that he called a really good game. And you have to remember, though, he caught Hardy quite a few times down in the minor leagues when Hardy was either relieving or starting, and he's caught him the majority of his starts in the big leagues too. So Grayson Greiner and Blaine Hardy, they work very well together. As a matter of fact, Blaine Hardy even gave him his props after the game as well.
Yeah. Well, together they worked so Hardy would strike out a career-high 6 and get his first win as a starter in this yard.
Judging by the way that he's sitting over there next to Michael Fulmer, he might be catching Fulmer tomorrow. Fulmer is scheduled to go tomorrow, correct?
He is.
And a lot of times when you see a catcher and tomorrow's starting pitcher sitting that closely together, they're kind of forming their game plan for the next day. I also saw Greiner in the clubhouse today pouring over a lot of notes over the Los Angeles Angels. It's a team that he doesn't know that well. So this is all part of the preparation right here, Shep. It starts the day before.
Yeah, I loved what he was doing yesterday with James Mccann. They had that 3-ring binder out going over their notes for Chicago. It paid off. Hopefully the same will happen in this series against the Angels. Scalded foul. It's one of those parts, I think, of the game of baseball we truly can't appreciate, nor do we always know about the amount of research that is done and the amount of scouting that is done. When Rod and I go into that clubhouse on a revolving reel, you see the opposing pitcher. You're going to see what he does, what makes him effective, and players will take their notes appropriately. 3-2 pitch to James Mccann. Castellanos will be on the move. And he struck him out. 2 strikeouts for Tyler Skaggs. Well, a guy who was here and very popular, Ian Kinsler, will make his first at bat against the Tigers, his old team, this season when we come back. 22nd at 4:10. First 10,000 fans receive a free Bill Freehan 50th anniversary 1968 bobblehead. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGERS or go to tigers.com. One of the more iconic shots right there in Detroit sports history. Bill Freehan grabbing Mickey Lolich after another complete game, his third in that 1968 comeback World Series win against the St. Louis Cardinals. Matthew Boyd to face Andrelton Simmons, Jeffery Marte, and Ian Kinsler. 2 ex-Tigers in the next 3 batters. 3 ex-Tigers overall in this lineup. Some people forget that Jeffery Marte played here in 2015. Simmons takes it in tight. Simmons 63 hits. That's 5th most in the American League. That is tied with Nicolas Castellanos. So if you want to get a gauge on just how good this guy has been all season, there you go. Castellanos with the same amount. He was on base in the first. See if Simmons can follow him there. The Angels shortstop. 3rd best road batting average in the American League at 366.
And Nicolas Castellanos had a real nice fan club out in right field yesterday. He had about 30 members of his family.
It's cool.
And watching him play yesterday afternoon. Then after the game, they all had a real nice barbecue.
Yeah, we heard from his father. Johnny Kane interviewed his father during the game. It's always fun to hear the perspective from mom and dad at some point. Doesn't matter if you've been in the league 5 years or 15 years.
Right.
Simmons sliced it inside the line. He'll test Castellanos. No, sir. He saw what Castellanos did the other night in throwing out a runner at second, but Simmons on with a leadoff single.
And we told you earlier today that Simmons with 2 strikes is one of the best hitters in baseball. This guy goes from foul line to foul line. That's a pretty firm fastball at about 91 miles an hour. You saw Hicks playing off the line about 15 feet, and that ball was able to get past his left side. So when you overshift every now and then, a guy's going to be able to drive that ball down the right field line on you.
Also the toughest batter to strike out in the American League. Here's Jeffery Marte.
He's doing a lot of really nice things. He strikes out once every 20 at-bats or something like that?
Yeah, 21.3 plate appearances.
Yeah, that's the best in the American League by a long shot.
No doubt. Marte played 33 games with Detroit in 2015. Angels don't steal as many bags, Rod, as Chicago did. Chicago came into the series against Detroit and left the series with the American League lead in stolen bases. But the Angels will run on you. They are 4th in the league in that category. Mike Scioscia has always believed in that. Scioscia now in his 19th year. Longest-termed manager in the majors. And if he wins today, he'll tie Tommy Lasorda for 2nd all-time for number of wins with 1 team.
And Tommy Lasorda was his mentor.
Yes.
He played 13 seasons for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda, you can see both tied at 1.599. So he'll pass his mentor. There were a lot of people that felt like Mike Scioscia was going to replace Tommy Lasorda as the next manager in the Dodgers organization, but the Angels hired him 19 years ago and they haven't let him go yet, Shep.
High pop up. Will Mccann have room? Nope. Yeah, I remember watching Mike Scioscia play catcher for the Dodgers. I thought he was a dynamite catcher, Rod.
He was rough. He would stand there and he would block the plate and didn't mind getting ran over. He made all-star teams. He played in the World Series. Outstanding manager. He's had a really nice run, and if he wins a few more games or wins another championship, man, they're going to start talking about this guy for the Hall of Fame.
2-time manager of the year. Two-two pitch to Marte. To center. Late jump for Jones, but makes the catch anyway.
When you have the kind of speed that Jacoby Jones has, every now and then you're going to break back, Chef, because Marte is a guy that has some power.
Yeah.
And now you have Jacoby Jones that takes one step back, and then he realizes the ball wasn't hit very hard. So he's able to recover with that really good speed, and he doesn't even have to leave his feet. He's quite the athlete in center field.
Should your first step, first step should be back.
It's
really.
A safe.
Yeah, it's safe.
It's a safe step back. You can't go any more than one step back, or you might not be able to recover. But it's not all bad when balls are hit directly at you that you pause momentarily just to decide what that ball is going to do, whether it's going to carry over your head or whether it's going to be one like the one that he just caught.
Here's Ian Kinsler. Nice reception as he was announced. And we had a chance to talk with him before the game. A good visit, even though he's struggling. And he says, look, the process is always challenging when you don't have results. But he said he's got great feelings coming back here to Detroit. Felt great driving in from Birmingham. He called it a great 4 years, Rod. A great 4 years.
You know what? He is a professional. A baseball player. He gave the Tigers everything they thought they were getting when they made the deal to bring him over here from the Texas Rangers in the Prince Fielder deal. He made an all-star team. He won a Gold Glove. He played that position as well as any second baseman has in a long, long time. Ian Kinsler's a really good baseball player.
Sure is.
And he comes to beat you every single day.
Well, that's, I asked him, what do you like about this Angels clubhouse? And he said, well, we're all really super competitive. And he said, we want to win badly, but we all really get along well. And there are a lot of leaders in that clubhouse. They all know what it's like to prepare for games. This one lofted to left. Goodrum makes it 2 outs. Hey, Tigers fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app and take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball wherever you go. It's made available by Oakland University. Martin Maldonado, 7th year in the big leagues, first with the Angels. A surprising nugget on Maldonado from a year ago. Caught the inside. He led the majors in games caught with 137.
Durable.
And that was tied for 7th in franchise history, and most since Bob Boone in 1944.
Well, he catches for a manager that was catching 130, 140 games a year in social. He's an old school guy.
In Milwaukee a year ago, or a couple of years ago, where he spent parts of 5 seasons with the Brewers. Pretty good lead over there at first, too. Simmons.
A lot of times the guys will get a really big lead like Simmons is getting right now, Shep. It's about 12 to 13, which is a huge lead. And a lot of times they get that big lead against a left-hander is because they want to see Matthews' best move. He gets that big lead and he's coming back to first base no matter what. You'll see him when he delivers the ball home. He'll take one step back because he wants to see the move of Matthew Boyd right now. See that? He's not thinking about running. He just wants to see his best move. And it's not only for him, it's for his teammates too.
He's seen the move a couple of times.
Not his best move. He wants to see his best move. He wants to get off as far as he can so that he can entice Matthew Boyd into showing him his best move. And then the first base coach and all the guys in the dugout will know exactly what his best move is. Here's a breaking ball down in the dirt, though. Probably he might anticipate here. He might run here.
Maldonado pops it up to second. Machado under it, and an easy inning for Matthew Boyd as we honor those who have fallen to protect our great nation. money encounter as Nico Goodrum stands in against Tyler Skaggs, who has been simply fantastic on the first pitch. And yet the Tigers have been able to work some serious creative magic in their first pitch they see.
Well, something's got to give, and you can already tell that Tyler Skaggs a little leery in throwing first pitch strikes here today. He's thrown a total of 20 pitches, 10 have missed the strike zone, because he may know exactly what we know about the Tigers hitting 376 on first pitches.
That's that aggression that Ron Gardenhire often refers to.
And he missed here again with the first pitch because of the fact that Tigers are so good on first pitches. But now by missing, Nico should get a good fastball to hit. He should be hunting it.
He does. Wide of first, really nice play, but the throw behind Skaggs, who was covering. Marte made a really nice range there, but just didn't have time to plant and get anything on the throw.
Here's a play right here that he made much more difficult than possible. Take a look at Kinsler here. Kinsler's going to make this play right there.
Yeah.
You see Kinsler right there. Kinsler's going to make the play. And Maldonado, he goes too far. That would be Marte. And then he throws the ball wildly because he's a play that he doesn't really make all that often. So it should be a hit, but you never know. But he made it a more difficult play than it should have been.
It is a hit. Hicks took it outside. This Angels defense, a big reason why they're threatening in the AL West is because of their defense. They've made the third fewest errors and have the fourth best fielding percentage. Is that a communication thing between Marte and Kinsler?
It can turn into a communication thing, but Marte does not play first base all that often. If I look at the sheet, I'm sure Pujols is getting most of the reps over there. And because, Shep, you have these defenses every now and then where you overshade a guy in a certain way. Yeah. Marte could get the ball, don't get me wrong, but it's a much easier play if he just goes to the bag and he allows Kinsler to make the play. Then you don't have, what happened there. Nico Goodrum will take that base hit, though, trust me.
I would, too.
And so will Rod Allen because he had him in pick to stick today.
1-1 to John Hicks, who I had in Ram pick to stick yesterday. Didn't get my usual big points there, Rod.
No. It's like that sometimes.
There wasn't a whole lot of big points out there yesterday.
It's a long year. Yeah. It's a long, long year.
3-2 win for the Tigers.
Well, your first couple of days, you had a total of 21, so you did real well first couple of days, subbing for Mario.
Shallow right, and now in foul territory. Marte can't catch up to it.
Good effort here by Marte. Jeffery Marte, former Tiger.
Two and two to John Hicks. Hicks went 3 for 10 over the weekend against the White Sox.
And Tigers continue to play really good baseball at home, taking another series away from the Chicago White Sox. They've won their last 3 series right here at home.
4-6 so far this year against the West. There goes Goodrum. And they hit right behind him. Great hit and run by Hicks. Goodrum's going to hold it third, and the Tigers got something brewing with runners at the corners and nobody down.
It's a nice job here by Nico Goodrum. He got a pretty good jump, and he took a couple of steps, and he took a look in to see exactly what was going to happen, whether the ball was going to be made contact with. And fortunately for the Tigers, Ian Kinsler had the responsibility of going to second base to cover. And Hicks hit it right where Ian Kinsler had been standing. Tigers in business right now, first and third against Tyler Skaggs.
How about those white jets for Nico Goodrum?
Nico can really run, and he's fun to watch play. We haven't seen a player like Nico Goodrum in the Tigers uniform in a long, long time. Big, strong, and physical. Guy with speed, guy with power. And he's getting an opportunity to play.
Right back up the box by Jacoby Jones. Kinsler will twist the double play. The run scores. The Tigers have the early lead. Good example of the ability to go first to third on a base hit and on the hit and run, and Detroit's ability to move runners along differently than they have in the past allows Detroit to take the early 1-0 lead. Jose Iglesias, the number 8 hitter.
If you're Jacoby Jones right now, you just aren't happy. The fact that you had runners on first and third, and you know that you didn't get a good swing right there. I've been there. I've had the same thing happen to me where you get yourself in a situation like that, Shep, and you hit a ground ball to the second baseman, and you know you didn't have a competitive swing. We've seen Jacoby take much better swings than that. And that just chews you up as a player.
Iglesias goes the other way, but it's an easy play from Marte. Detroit does score a run on a couple of hits, giving Matthew Boyd the early lead here at home. To so many of us, especially to Tigers starter Matthew Boyd today. You see the names on his spikes on this Monday afternoon. This is what he tweeted earlier this morning to these two men, or a number of men really, but the Boones, Bradley and Brandon, were killed in action, as was Christopher Cooper, and all the other troops that have given their lives for this country. We thank you today. We honor you. Hashtag Memorial Day, hashtag because of the brave. What a tribute. And I love the camouflage that has decorated these two uniforms and caps a little bit.
Yeah, they've been wearing them for the last 3 days.
Yeah, I would like, I did see, if you noted on the Matthew Boyd tweet, the spikes in the picture next to that tweet. It would be really cool if they would allow them to wear that.
And Chris Young always has been a dangerous fastball hitter, and so be careful here if you decide to throw him one. It's a 3-1 count. Predictable fastball count for Young, who spent the last couple of years with the Boston Red Sox. Had some really good years with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Struggling this year, though.
Good pitch.
Swings through an off-speed pitch to make it full.
It's a changeup there. Boyd does a lot of that. He'll throw you that changeup in that particular count.
Craig Monroe, you staying cool down there in the camera well?
Well,
my
fellas,
friend?
it is a little hot down here, but I'm a team guy, and you know what? You got to be down here where you can get in the action, man. And then my friends behind me, the girls here, they always take care of me, and they gave me this beautiful hat. And fellas,
there's a stunner. The ladies gravitating toward Craig Monroe. I'm stunned by that.
Yeah, if you don't have the sunscreen on, it's better off that you got a little hat on to keep that sun off your neck.
Well, also off this bald head, Rod.
Yeah, but I can't see your pearly whites.
No.
Or the whites of your eyes either. So you got to take it off if you're going to be on camera. I mean, you look good in anything. So
I try. I try hard. That's all.
Hey, see, what are you seeing in Matthew so far? It looks like he's keeping the boys off balance, throwing fastballs when they're looking for off-speed stuff and vice versa. It looks like he hasn't really changed a whole lot from his previous starts in the big leagues this year.
And Rod, he's not giving in. I mean, he's using both sides of the plate, using his fastball to both sides, and I thought coming into the contest he would have to do that, and then that would make that changeup and that breaking ball that much better.
You excited for this series? Simo, I know you are for every series, but especially this series because of some of the names that decorate that Angels lineup.
Oh, I'm definitely excited. Excited to watch the young man in the on-deck circle right now, Mr. Mike Trout. I think he's the best player in the game today. I love watching Albert Pujols.
Simmons, as we mentioned.
And he's definitely the best shortstop, I believe, defensively right now in the game.
Yeah, and you, of course, really close with Justin Upton, too.
I am. Had a great relationship with Justin. Worked out with him with Torrey Hunter during the off seasons when I was a player, when he was a young man. But now he's a stud now. He's a superstar.
1-2 pitch to Zach Cozart. Now it's 2-2.
And Boyd wants contact here on the 2-2 pitch because he doesn't want to go 3-2, because more than likely if he goes 3-2 they may start the runner, and that will take the double play out of the equation. So you want contact here on the 2-2 pitch. And no contact here, and as aggressive as Socha has been throughout his managerial career, and more than likely Young will be on the move. But if you're Young, you can't be thinking about stealing the base. You have to wait until Boyd delivers the ball, and then you simply run and you hope that Cozart puts the ball in play.
Angels have only been caught stealing 4 times this year.
I saw that.
That's the fewest in the American League.
I saw that.
Little pop-up.
That just goes to show you they're picking their spots these days. There's a time when Socha had teams, man, that would run wild. If you were a catcher, you'd have nightmares before going up against a Mike Socha managed team. But he's kind of changed his style, philosophy over the years. Well,
his lineup has changed too a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, that's sort of like the Tigers. The Tigers are not doing this year what they did the previous 3-4 years because they have different personnel. They have to win. They have to compete differently.
That's right.
Cozart hanging tough.
I like the way these guys have played the game of baseball in 2018. It's refreshing.
Talking about the Tigers?
Yes, they don't sit around and wait around for the 3-run homer as they did for a number of years there. They go first or third. They steal lots of bases. Who knew that Iglesias could steal as many bases as he has stolen? He didn't get a chance to run his first number of years here in the Tigers uniform, but he's got 7 steals. A little courtesy throw over by Matthew Boyd, just letting Chris Young know that he hasn't forgotten about him.
Another foul. This will be the 10th pitch to Cozart. Whether he gets on or not, it's a good at bat. see everything a pitcher has and give your teammates a chance to see everything he's got in his arsenal. Got him looking.
And like Boyd went up top with a slow slider and got the strike call from Mark Rippinger, who's the home plate umpire this afternoon.
Third strikeout of the day for Matthew Boyd. Sosha didn't agree with it. The first strikeout of the day was to this guy, Mike Trout.
Hey.
Ooh, jumped all over it. You all right down there, buddy?
Hey, that's heads up. I'm ducking down there.
I heard you. Hey.
Mike Trout must have not heard what you just said about him. You just said he was the best player in the game, and he whistled one at you.
Yeah, and he also wears number 27. Big fan of that. So he's got some skills too, guys. You know that. He can run, he can hit. He's our modern-day Mickey Mantle.
I would agree with that.
The question I have, Simo and Shep and I, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think universally this cat is the best player in the game, but is there anybody closing the gap? Are there anybody getting close to this guy in your opinion?
That's a tough question, man.
Because for me there is. Guys are getting close.
Manny Machado is really good.
Betts
is, extremely good, but to be able to be consistent like this young man has been, though, Judge,
this is just the second year for Aaron Judge. I just don't
getting closer.
But he's not getting closer.
Getting closer.
He's not getting closer because we haven't seen enough of him yet. He set an American League record for strikeouts last year, even though he was really good. And I like him, but I'm talking about consistency. This one smoked a third. Candelario with a grab. And here's the thing. A lot of times what happens, we get caught up, not you, but we get caught up in May numbers and June numbers and July numbers. Give me the year numbers. And when you look at his yearly numbers and his career, and we're talking about a guy who's finished no worse than 4th in the MVP every single year. And this season, that WAR that he's on pace for, and by the way, it's even a little bit higher than that. He's on pace for a 15.3 WAR. That's the best of all time. That's the 1-800-CALL-SAM call of the game. Mike Trout in that Ruthian season, though it may not be the greatest season of all time, it's in the conversation. And a stolen bag for Chris Young.
Chris Young went on first movement. He anticipated that Boyd would not throw to first base. As soon as he picked his right foot up, he was off and running, and he could have stood up if he wanted to. Mccann didn't even make a throw down to second.
Now a runner in scoring position.
All right, so you can answer the question now. No, I believe right now, Rod, Mike Trout's the best player. And right now, Mookie Betts is, I can't even say closing the gap yet. Mike Trout has been so consistent year after year. The numbers he put up are incredible. And he changes the game in all aspects of the game, like all facets. He can run, he can play great defense. He makes hitting look easy in the batter's box.
He came off the bench on a Sunday earlier this year. Came off the bench, and his WAR was 3.5 in the game. That just doesn't happen, right? Since the 2014 season, he's got 156 bombs, 4th most in the majors. And it's incredible. Ken Griffey Jr., 4th with 238, Mickey Mantle 3rd before the age of 27. Those are the names you're with. That's impressive. And he's only 25.
Right. Guys, I was talking to Adam Kennedy when I was visiting in Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame Classic game, and he talks a lot. Everybody obviously loves Mike Trout, but he told me that he's a better person.
Yeah.
He goes, he's a great teammate. He's very humble.
2-1 pitch to Justin Upton. Make it 2-2.
He has got Justin Upton kind of twisted up here. First couple of at-bats. First at-bat today, he struck Jay Up out with back-to-back fastballs. This time he went at him again with another off-speed pitch in the 2-1 count. There's a changeup. It's a 2-1 count. Jay Up looking for a fastball. He pulls the string on him, but not only did he pull the string on him, he located that change piece beautifully.
And I like the confidence too, Rod, that he's throwing that pitch with.
Mm-hmm. They're going back there with it again.
Good stop by Mccann. Angels have been terrible in the month of May if the runners in scoring position, batting just .226. And yet they're hanging in there. Because Rod, they are 17-7 on the road. That's the best winning percentage in the majors.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they're not performing very well at home.
No, it's a puzzler, isn't it? Payoff pitch to Upton. Got him looking for the second time today. Upton doesn't like it. Boyd thrives on it. 1-0 Tigers. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And it's the Chevy Memorial Day sales event. Start your summer off right in a new Chevrolet. Beautiful ceremony before the first pitch today, where the Tigers out in full force, shaking every one of them. Member of the military who's here, shaking their hand. Try to make a point of doing that anytime I see somebody in our armed services and the police officers in this country, especially those here in Detroit. We salute them as well. We see them a lot here at Comerica Park, Ford Field, Little Caesars Arena. It's good to visit with the men in blue. Dixon Machado, Leonis Martin, and Nicolas Castellanos due up for Detroit. And the quick-working Tyler Skaggs, 3-0 on the road this year with a 1.88 ERA and a whip of about 1.2.
And good hitters count here for Dixon. And Dixon's made some adjustments to his swing last few days.
How have those gone, do you think?
Well, he had a good game yesterday. He lined out his first time up to center field, and his next time up, he was patient. He got a breaking ball, hit it right back up the middle. So it looks like he's starting to concentrate on using the whole field, not just left field and the left side of the infield, which he was using pretty much the first month of the season.
Changing the plane a little bit is what Ron Gardenhire used as a description for
it.
Yeah,
take advantage of the teams when they try to overshift on you.
And guys, I was talking to Gardy in regards to in regards to Machado, which you got to walk right there. It's a great eye. But he was talking about, being a second baseman, a guy that needs to be able to handle the bat, to be able to use the whole field. And so they did start working with Machado on trying to stay through the middle to right center. And as Rod alluded to, yesterday he had a couple hits. And I like the direction of them. They were to the middle of the field and the opposite way. That's encouraging, guys, because this young man can help this team, I believe, in the future.
Yeah, Ron Gardenhire said the other day, when you're a hitter like Dixon Machado, teams should not be shifting on you. Now, the Angels don't shift a whole lot, do they, guys?
No. Socha's an old-school kind of manager.
There goes Machado.
Doesn't foul ball. Yeah. It doesn't shift a whole lot. We haven't really seen him shift a whole lot here today, at least not as of yet.
Totally different from Chicago. We saw the White Sox shift on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, they're all in on analytics. You can see that the infielders are pretty much playing and Marte straight up, whereas the White Sox were playing him to pull. They're shading him to pull, but not as aggressively as the White Sox were a couple of days ago.
Rod, what are you seeing with Leonys Martin here lately with this swing?
Well, he had a couple good games after he went 0 for 20, I believe, when he first came back. He had a couple good games, and then he came back, and his swing was a little big here today. But he's had some good games lately. He's starting to slow it down a little bit. I think he needs to get back to being a little shorter, a little quicker, a little more compact, and he'll take advantage of hitting some line drives. I just thought his swing got big there for a while.
Guys, he told me it was a little more difficult to slow the game down when you're out as long as he was. Did you guys find that was similar when he might have gone on the DL for a little bit?
Yeah, he was out for 10 days.
He was out for 10 days. And guys, in order to be consistent, especially when you feel good, you need to be in the lineup. And to take 10 days off, that's a long time with not being able to, read the breaking balls.
Yeah.
Fastballs seem to get on you a little bit quicker. But you're right, Rod. He is starting to slow it down a little bit more. I'd like to see him start driving the ball the opposite way a little bit.
The biggest concern, he told me, was he was missing fastballs over the middle of the plate, and that was not happening earlier this year. Third strikeout of the day for Tyler Skaggs. Time now for the Bernstein advantage. It involves Nicolas Castellanos. He's got the Bernstein advantage in terms of facing lefties this year. That includes both leagues.
Well, that's why Skaggs pitched around Castellanos' first time up. He threw him 4 straight balls. But now he doesn't have the luxury of simply putting him on. Remember, Nicolas is dangerous on first pitches. One of the best in baseball.
Went chasing there. Good conversation with Castellanos today about leadership, because we were asking Kinsler about a little bit of that void in the Tigers clubhouse when he left, but he is not surprised that Castellanos and Shane Green have adopted that role. He described them as very good clubhouse rovers. They work the room very well. They walk around the room very well.
Well, guys, after the Tiger Fest this year, Nicolas Castellanos went and spent a few days with Torrey Hunter, and that was the basics of their conversation, how to be a leader. And Torrey shared some things with Nick that it's going to help him and continue to be a leader for this Tigers team, and he's excited.
Well, if you want to learn from somebody, Torrey Hunter's a pretty darn good example setter. Torrey Hunter, I would say some of the best leaders I've ever covered in this market. Torrey Hunter, Nicholas Lidstrom from the Red Wings, Chauncey Billups for the Pistons.
Yes.
And Torrey Hunter also took Mike Trout under his wing in Trout's rookie year, and
helped him a lot.
Trout's mom has gone on record to thank Torrey Hunter for taking her teenage son under his wing when he first got to the big leagues and teaching him how to go about his business on a daily basis. So Torrey's done that in a lot of different places.
Sure he has.
A lot of different places, but a lot of different people too. Like a lot of different players, guys.
Heck, I miss him.
He impacts your life.
He'll be I didn't play with him, but I miss talking to him.
Torrey will be here for a Negro League weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're honoring Torrey this year.
They should.
Torrey does games for the Minnesota Twins as well, a handful of games during the season. He also works in the front office for Minnesota. He's got one of them good jobs, see?
Yeah, he does.
Close to the general manager.
What, like we don't? Wide to third and through the hole for a base hit for Castellanos.
To answer your question, Shep, this is a very good job, too.
I try not to use the word great. It has a tendency to be overused. I'll use it in this situation.
It's a nice job.
Yeah, nice job hitting here.
Stand with that breaking ball.
That's kind of how he's grown, hasn't he, guys? Castellanos.
Oh, there's no question. The fact that he has the ability, Shep and Rod, to drive the ball, fastballs the opposite way as well as he does, I believe it allows him to be able to keep his hands back and keep his bat in the zone long enough and recognize those breaking balls. And he's done a number on breaking balls this year. A lot of his home runs have come off off-speed pitches.
Confidence is through the roof with him,
too.
Oh,
yes.
I thought that Castellanos said something very interesting the other day, C and Shep. He said that when he first came to the Tigers, he started to watch how hard everybody worked, how many swings everybody took. Guys hit before the game, guys hit after the game, guys hit during the game.
This one golfed. Nice play at short, and Machado's speed gets him to third. But Simmons, really good example of his range, but he remains down.
He hurt himself. He's asking for help. I don't know what happened here. It was a very acrobatic play, but he's still on the ground, and he's asking for help. So unfortunate.
Good.
Looked like he hurt his tailbone or something.
Yeah, tailbone, lower back.
Yeah. Boy, the immediate thought I had when I saw that is, please get up. I love seeing good players. And you want him to stay in there. He will. Good.
Guys, how about the range on that play? Oh, my God.
Well, see, that's the reason why Socha doesn't shift a lot, because he has the best athletic shortstop in the sport. Look at him, and he ranges to his right to even get to this ball. Then he throws off balance underneath, and they almost get the out at third base. It's the only play that he has. It's a really talented shortstop.
And remember, he wasn't playing back there. He's playing double play depth. So to get to that play was really difficult.
Just want to finish that thought on Castellanos, talking about when he first came into pro ball, how hard everybody worked and how many swings guys took. He says he had always been a natural hitter, and he found himself taking what had been natural to him just to be a really good hitter and making it work, because he felt like he had to take as many swings as everybody else was taking just to keep up with guys. But he says, I don't need all those swings to be sharp.
James Mccann with the bases loaded. The other thing Castellanos told me is I'm a little different from the way Ian Kinsler led, in the sense that I put my arm around guys. I talk to them, see what they need. Kinsler's a little bit more in your face type of, I'm going to push you, tough love type of player. Both work. Depends on the individual working with.
Well, the guy that Kinsler mentored the most right now is standing on third base. That's Dixon Machado. He's the one that got Dixon Machado prepared to play second base this year. Dixon was on the roster all of last year and did not play all that much, but you saw him every day at the second base position with Ian Kinsler, taking ground balls and picking Ian's brain, and that's why he's been able to make that transition from shortstop to second base so smoothly from a defensive end.
Good point. Mccann, heavy hit, way back, see ya. Goodrum with a grounder to third.
James Mccann with a grand slam, and how about that for a Memorial Day? He got a fastball at 92 that was right down the middle, and as soon as James hit it, he knew it was gone. You could tell. And by his actions, he could watch that ball travel over the Tigers bullpen into the left field seats to clear the bases. I see you, James. That's your guy today, ain't it?
Oh, it is. They tried to sneak that cheese by that rat. He got caught at 92.
You've just run away with it.
Oh,
a grand slam. Third of his career. Last time was against the Twins a year ago in the middle of August.
That's a big knock, because we told you how well Tyler Skaggs had been pitching on the road this year. The Tigers, hey, they tack a 5 spot on it.
Hicks, who extended his hitting streak to 5 with a base knock in the second.
Tigers have been a good team this year against left-handed pitching anyway.
Right, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that most of the right-hand hitters on this particular team stays inside the ball well. They use the big part of the field, so lefty, you feel like you can get to them a lot sooner, a lot quicker.
James Mccann flexing his muscles in the third. The Tigers are in front by 5. You're watching Tigers baseball, presented by Bell Tire.
Know your own power. How about this on May 4th of this season? The 3,000th hit of Albert Pujols' illustrious career. He is going to the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about that. What a special career he's had.
Also has 621 homers, which is number 7 all time.
He used to be a guy that had great power to right field, right center field. As he's gotten older, he starts to cheat a little bit. He's more of a pull hitter these days. He's gotten more hits to left field the last couple of seasons than he had in his previous 10 seasons in the big leagues.
And guys, he was one of the guys I picked the brain of all the time. Every time I had a chance to see him, you know, I wanted to figure out what was he doing and how he was able to be so consistent.
Grounder to third. Candelario on a nice backhand stab for one quick out here in the 4th.
And one of the things he told me, and I think the biggest thing and the main thing that he told me was he always thought about hitting the ball to right center. Now he told me, now I'm not trying to hit it to right center, but he says if I think right center, it puts my body, keeps me square, puts my body in a really good position to be able to cover both inside and outside pitches.
Well, that's why he's got over 3,000. 6th foreign-born player to accomplish that feat. Andrelton Simmons, who singled back in the 2nd. Simmons has reached base safely now in 33 of the last 34 games.
He has turned himself into an outstanding offensive performer to go along with the defense that he's had since coming to the big leagues. He's won 2 Gold Gloves in Atlanta, won 1 last year with the Angels. Simo, who's the all-stars at shortstop in the American League? I mean, is Simmons going to make the team?
I mean, I almost feel like he has to. I mean, he's hitting 335.
Yeah, but what about Lindor, Correa?
Lindor, Correa, Machado.
Who's going to make it?
I don't know.
Somebody's got to get left
Somebody's going to get left off.
There's going to be an upset fan base. But this is a very passionate fan base. And, folks, we know how much you love baseball. This is a really entertaining team to watch.
Oh, there's no
3 more games here to watch here at Comerica Park. You should come out and check it out.
There's a chance you might see Shohei Ohtani on Wednesday. They have TBA listed in their notes, which means to be announced. But there's a rumor, and it's a strong rumor going around that we're going to see Shohei Ohtani.
Well, you're well connected.
On the mound.
You're well connected, so we'll believe you.
And we might just see him as a pinch hitter here today.
Guys, I'm looking forward to that.
How could you not see the guy hits bombs 500 feet? He also throws 100 miles an hour. I mean, he's one of the brightest stars in baseball these days.
Well, he was out there earlier today getting his throws in.
They say that usually when he throws, he starts a couple of days after that, which means we might not see him as a hitter, as a designated hitter tomorrow, but we might see him as a designated hitter on Thursday, the day after he pitches on Wednesday, if in fact he does get the ball on Wednesday.
Well, Ron Gardenhire told me earlier today, he says, look, man, this kid's the whole package. I'm excited to watch him. If Gardenhire's excited, fans have to be pumped up too.
I mean, which are you guys excited about watching him pitch, or are you anxiously waiting to see him in the batter's box?
Honestly, I think I'm more excited to watch him pitch, believe it or not. I mean, there's something about a guy who can throw 100 miles an hour, has the ability to dance all over the zone, and I get a chance to see him pitch more than I would hit. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Meanwhile, Matthew Boyd is twirling a gem, taking a page out of Blaine Hardy's book from yesterday afternoon. Blaine Hardy was sensational yesterday, 7 innings, turning the ball over to Jimenez. Jimenez turned it over to Green. That's a real nice recipe for success, but Boyd has been dealing out there so far today.
Stroke to left. Victor Reyes makes the out, and Victor Reyes is in for Nico Goodrum. Heat exhaustion, the reason Goodrum could not continue.
You really have to be careful when you get into this heat. You have to drink your water, you have to drink your fluids, and not only the day before the game, Shep, you really have to start prior to that. When you look at the weather report, you see there's going to be a hot day on Sunday, a hot day on Monday. You're playing back-to-back day games. You really have to hydrate, and I'm sure the Tigers trainers are on top of that.
Well, I would expect Simo to be getting hydrated down in the camera well. It's 91 degrees. Doesn't get a whole lot better than this right now.
Got a little Gatorade going right now, guys.
Do you?
Yeah, quenching my thirst. It is a little hot down here, but
you're always smooth.
But there's not a better view.
I agree. I love sitting down there with you. Chance to watch the game at a different angles and hear what the players are saying along that bench.
Yeah, coming in the dugout, you hear them talking about Skaggs, the ball getting on them a little quicker than they thought. The breaking ball is sharp right now. But James Mccann was able to deliver a big blow with that grand slam.
Kinsler swings at a 1-0 pitch and skies it to center. Third putout of the day for Jacoby Jones, and the Angels go quietly. Jones will lead things off in the 4th for the Tigers. homestand. We've had Al Kaline on our program, and tomorrow we will have Al Avila in the broadcast booth with Mario Impemba and Rod Allen in the 3rd inning. So we invite you to stick around and watch and listen to the Tigers general manager in the 3rd inning tomorrow.
That should be interesting because I know we're going to ask him some questions about the draft, and I don't expect him to give us a whole lot of answers, but we're still going to ask him.
Are you going to ask him about Casey Mize?
You know it. You know we're going to ask him about.
Are you going to ask him about Joey Bart?
I'm going to ask him about all those guys that potentially they could take with the first pick in the draft on June 4th. It might be the last time that we see Al Avila before the draft.
Jones to the gap and right. Good speed, definitely 2, and he will settle for the leadoff double.
Hey, see, I made the comment after Jacoby's first at-bat today when he came up with runners on 1st and 3rd, and he swung at the first pitch against Skaggs, a guy that he'd never, ever seen before, and he hit it weakly to the second baseman for out. I said, you know what, he didn't appreciate that very much, but he sure did appreciate this one right here. This is a good swing.
No, this is a beautiful swing here. This is what I love to watch. This is what I want to see from Jacoby Jones. I just really believe, Rod, when he's standing inside the baseball, trying to use the big part of the field, man, the kid can hit. He's got power. He has tremendous speed.
He's got 11 doubles now, and fellas, you saw the graphic right there. Now a franchise record, 44 straight games of a double.
Wow, 44 straight games with at least one double?
Yep, that's something. Snapping the tie with the 1924 Tigers. Little flare to right side, and Marte has no problem with it.
You know, the one thing you're starting to see with Jacoby Jones, guys, is he's starting to make adjustments sooner. It used to be where it would take him an entire series to figure out exactly what the opposing pitchers are trying to do to him. Now it pretty much takes him one game, maybe even in game, making adjustments to what the opposing pitchers are trying to do to him. And that's just a really good sign of maturation and trusting yourself and trusting your hands and getting more comfortable in the big leagues with your role you're playing.
Have to be able to play through some slumps, and he was in one for 11. Maybe he's out of it now. Dixon Machado, who did the same with an RBI single yesterday, walked and scored in the 3rd on the grand slam, the 3rd of his career for James Mccann.
Guys, that's the toughest part of this game, is when you're failing, to continue to trust your mechanics, trust the goal of being a productive player, and then you just, for whatever reason, when you're not succeeding, it's tough to do.
Routine for Simmons, 2 down. It's also the mental part of the game, isn't it, Seymour?
Oh, it's all mental. It's all mental. I mean, everybody up here can hit. They were the best player on every team they've probably ever been on.
They can all pitch. They can all field for the most part. Yeah.
When you get here, man, you're going to go through tough times. You're going to go through an 0 for 12. You're going to go through a 0 for 20. But how do you handle it? Do you quit on yourself? Do you start to feel sorry for yourself, or do you just continue to trust the process? And I think, Rod, you're right. Jacoby Jones, these guys continue to trust the process and trust their ability.
Yeah, do you have those negative images in your mind like I do from a 4-foot putt? Or are you thinking positively, you know?
Yes.
Martine had talked to me the other day about that very image. You want to see your hard work pay off. When you don't, it can be difficult to stay on track. Oh, and 2.
And Skaggs continues to pump fastballs at Martine, and Martine continues to swing through them. Their fastballs at the top of the strike zone. A lot of times it's a little more difficult for lefties to get on top of the high fastballs. Most left-handers like the ball down in the zone.
Right, for me, it's Martine's pressing just a little bit, trying to get back on track, wants to get back on track because he knows he's the catalyst at the top of this batting order.
Would you guys advise maybe a bunt once in a while?
That would be accepted as far as I'm concerned. He's already gotten a couple of bunt base hits this year. He probably should at least look to bunt once a game. See, is there a such thing for a guy like Martine, because he was banging so well with a lot of extra base hits before he went on the DL? that once he gets off the DL, he kind of forgets about the bunt because he felt like he was swinging the bat very well before he went on the DL?
Well, I think so. And I also know Martine. I mean, we talk about him and his infectious personality. He wants to be a productive player. He wants to be the guy on this team. And it just looks like to me, Rod, you're right, he's getting big with this swing. I feel like he's trying a little bit too hard. But he's a veteran guy, so you know he's going to be able to slow the game down and figure it out. But I would love to see him lay down a bunt here. Well, not now. He's got two strikes on him right now. And he's got a big base runner here at second base where a big knock here gets himself an RBI.
Well, he's going to get a fastball. He's going to have to be shorter and quicker.
Stays alive.
Gave him a breaking ball at 74.
Martine recognized that pitch though early. Was able to at least foul it off.
The one thing that Skaggs does with his breaking ball is he disguises it very well. He throws it from the same slot, obviously, as the fastball, but he throws it up top. He leaves it up in the strike zone. He starts it high and allows it to break down at the top of the strike zone.
Well, he's 6'4", too, right? He's got good downward angle, good downward plane. And sometimes those guys can be difficult to barrel up.
And Tiger's making him work. He's up to 65 pitches and so far here this afternoon on a hot, humid day.
Last year, just 5 in his last outing against Toronto in a no decision. Pop up on the left side. Cozart is under it. Sebo, great to visit with you as always. We'll see you on Tigers Live postgame, my friend.
I enjoyed it, fellas. I enjoyed it.
Stay cool in more ways than one.
For all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
And we salute those veterans on more days than just this. On this Memorial Day, back in downtown Detroit alongside Rod Allen, Trevor Thompson, Craig Monroe, Mickey York. I'm Matt Shepard. Glad you're with us on this Monday. 5-zip Tigers. Maldonado scalds one to center, drifting to his left as Jones covers a lot of ground. One pitch and one away. Trevor Thompson's got a special guest. Hi, Trev.
Matt, thank you very much. And her name is Jessica Harper. She is the Deputy Director of Sports and Entertainment for TAPS. What is TAPS and what does your organization do, Jessica?
TAPS is the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, and we care for anyone who's lost a loved one serving in the U.S. Armed Forces.
And you're in a suite right now with some special families. Tell us who you're in this suite with and how they arrived here with you today.
So we were invited by Mario's MVPs, and also the Detroit Tigers. I have 20 surviving families who've lost a loved one here with us today, and we're enjoying the ball game. We were also invited to throw out the first pitch. And we have 2 players who are wearing fallen heroes on their cleats today. One, James Mccann, I think his name is, number 34, and he just hit a grand slam. So we're thinking he had some help from above from our fallen heroes today.
That is very cool. Now, how special is it for the families that are in this suite with you and part of Mario's program?
So what it does, especially on a day where the nation stops and remembers all those who've made the ultimate sacrifice, to be honored, to be recognized, to have their fallen heroes shared, to continue to tell their story and always remember, it means a lot. It means a lot, and we're so grateful to the Detroit Tigers and to Mario for providing this opportunity.
Well, how did you become in contact with the Tigers and get invited down for this special occasion?
They found us, but my department, Sports Entertainment, we share the story. So families will write in and say, my son was a baseball player, he loved the Tigers, and we'll work with the Tigers and say, we have this family, could they honor their fallen hero, with their favorite team? And the MLB has been so generous. This weekend they announced that they're going to, all the merchandise that's sold this weekend that has military camouflage, they're going to make donations to 2 charities, Folds of Honor and to TAPS, and that'll be a minimum donation of $250,000 to support the programs that care for families of the fallen.
So this is a great time to buy a camouflage hat, is what you're saying?
It would be a wonderful time to get yourself a Detroit Tigers camouflage hat. Yes, sir.
That is awesome. Guys, back up to you, and we'll be with one of those special families in just a bit as this game rolls on.
Looking forward to that, Trev. Great interview, and Jessica knows her stuff, doesn't she? Right back up the box for a base hit for Chris Young. Second time he's been aboard for the Angels today. James Mccann and Matthew Boyd are the 2 Tigers to have fallen heroes on their spikes. They actually went to the Tigers and asked if they could honor those fallen heroes. Great shot, fellas, of just that.
Yeah, and how about Mccann with a grand slam?
And the job Matthew Boyd is doing so far. So there's a little karma.
Yes, indeed.
Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Quick throw over to first. That's a balk.
Yeah, they called a balk on
Sure
it.
did, yeah. First balk for Matthew Boyd this year.
Well, apparently Chris Young is seeing something in Matthew Boyd, because the first time that Chris was on first base, he stole second without a throw.
Mm-hmm.
And this time he causes Matthew Boyd to balk because he didn't step behind the rubber. You saw him kind of step on the rubber as he stepped back, but he did not step off the rubber, it appeared, Matthew Boyd.
Yeah, Ron Gardenharder wanted an explanation and got it. Greg Gibson, the crew chief, he's the first base umpire today. Mark Ripperberger behind home plate. Doug Eddings at second and Marty Foster at third. So Young in scoring position for the second time today. Left stranded back in the third.
Take a look at the left foot of Matthew Boyd and see what he does with it. And concentrate on the left foot. See, he does not step behind the rubber. He basically steps side by side with the rubber. You have to step behind the rubber, off the rubber. And that's why that was called a balk. It's a nice look there, fellas. Thank you.
Good explanation, too. Cozart, you had mentioned his time with the Reds. He joined Barry Larkin as the only Red shortstops to hit at least 24 homers in a season. Last year, he was named an all-star, as you mentioned, Rob, and led all shortstops in triples, homers, and batting average as well.
Isn't he the young man that Joey Votto bought a goat or something if he made the all-star team as a starter?
A goat?
Joey Votto.
Is that supposed to be incentive?
No, he did. He bought him an animal. This is real talk. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
An animal.
And he made the all-star team. Joey Votto bought him a goat or something like that. He still owns it.
Most guys get Rolexes. I get a goat.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Joey, if that's what it was. 3-2 to Cozart. offensive linemen pave the way for a 1,000-yard season for a running back, and they get Rolexes or flat screen TVs. Zach Kozar gets a goat from Joey Votto.
It was a donkey. Excuse me,
That's
donkey.
what it was?
A donkey.
It was a donkey.
A donkey.
So not a thoroughbred. He's not going to race that thing. What's he going to do, plow a field with it?
And he said that he was trying to find enough space out in his new crib in Los Angeles so he could bring the donkey to Los Angeles.
Oh, I hope he's got land, because if he's just renting some type of skyrise, he's got serious issues.
It's some hard. It costs a lot of money to live in LA.
How'd you like to walk a donkey? There's a pop-up. Boyd called for it, then he was called off. Candelario took charge. You like that. Here's Chevrolet's most dependable player as Mike Trout steps into the box on an 0 for 2 day. And those are gaudy numbers, folks. Remember, he's still a very young player. And anytime you're looking at WAR, wins above replacement, for anybody in baseball who would take his place. And only Ty Cobb has a higher WAR before the age of 25 in history. Fortunately for Tiger fans, we get a chance to see him for 3 more days. Matthew Boyd's handled him thus far and is ahead in the count, 0-2. Two-time MVP and a guy who has finished no lower than 4th in his career. What I like about wins above replacement is it takes everything into account. It's just not an offensive statistic. If we preach that defense wins championships, we should start paying closer attention to it other than gold gloves in baseball.
I've heard, and I don't know for sure, but I've heard of all the metrics, Shep, these days that you could come up with offensively, run speed, different things like that. Defense is the toughest one to really
measure. Yeah, I see that.
What a guy does in the outfield, how good a jumps he gets, how far he runs.
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, they were looking forward to this series, and they said, how could 14 teams have passed on him? I said they didn't. 24 teams did. He was 25th overall in 2009. Sprayed to right. And Castellanos is right there. 5-0 Tigers here at Comerica on Fox Sports Detroit.
Welcome you back to Comerica Park with some very special guests as promised earlier. We've got Tom, Linda, and Jody Jennings. They lost their son and brother, current Lieutenant Colonel Mark Jennings. And Tom, you told me he was a heck of a baseball player himself.
He sure was. I'll tell you what, he'd have loved to have been here today.
Now, James Mccann has your son's name on his shoes, and your family is being recognized that way. Linda, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it's really special. I couldn't believe that happened, the Grand Slam with his name on the shoe of the player. Couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, well, James Mccann, that's got to be special.
Yes, very special.
Oh, yeah.
He would have loved it.
Yeah.
And Jody, what do you think your brother would have thought of that, to have his name on a player's shoe out here today, being a baseball player himself and being recognized today with your family here?
Oh, he would have loved it. He just would have loved everything about this, the whole organization, the Detroit Tigers. We always love coming here. He just would have been ecstatic. Yeah.
Now, each of you have Mario Mpemba's MVP t-shirts on right here, right now. To have a guy like Mario recognize veterans in the way he does, just speaking on behalf of families, what does that mean? What kind of weight does that carry?
I'll tell you what, it's amazing what this organization does for survivors. There's no words to explain it.
Linda, you had a comment?
Well, I think it's wonderful that he would do this for us. I just think it's great.
You're in this suite with some other families of survivors. Jody, what does it mean to everybody in the suite to be a part of this here on Memorial Day today?
Well, it's so nice to be with other survivors so you can just talk to them about, what you've gone through, and they've gone through the same things. So you can share a lot of emotions and just feelings, and it's really nice.
We really appreciate you coming on with us here this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your afternoon, and happy Memorial Day.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You too.
Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Trev. Powerful message, powerful feelings from that family who were thanking James Mccann and Mario Mpemba, and for good reason. We thank them and their son's service and brother's service.
How special is that, though? I mean, James Mccann has her son's name on his shoes, and he hits a grand slam today, and the parents are here with the sister.
It's a memory builder, isn't it, bud?
Oh my goodness.
I really enjoy meeting those folks who are part of that crew that Mario brings in every single year. They get a chance now to enjoy the game, and I would imagine, and I shiver just to imagine the loss of something so important to you, but I would imagine they watch with amazement and are constantly thinking.
Well, that has to make Mario feel proud as well. I mean, he's not here today. He's with his family, his son, and got married over the weekend. But if he is watching, to see Tom's reaction to Trevor's questions, that has to make Mario feel awfully special.
That's why he does it, doesn't it? Right? I mean, it's a way to give back for Mario and that group. Hats off to them. Mario will be back in the booth tomorrow. Al Avila will join Mario and Rod in the broadcast booth in the third inning in game 2 of that 4-game series against the Angels. That one skips in there. Good stop by Maldonado. Angels have struggled offensively, as we mentioned, but they have played Detroit exceptionally well. They've beaten the Tigers 27 of the last 36 times. That 25% winning percentage for Detroit is the worst against any team since that time frame, 2015.
Since I've broadcast games here for the Tigers, the Angels probably have had the most difficult, the Tigers have had the most difficult time of beating the Angels, especially when they go out west. For whatever reason, Tigers just have had a terrible time of winning in Los Angeles.
Well, in the last 11 series, all right, Detroit is 1-9-1. They've done a really good job of being patient and hitting Tyler Skaggs' mistakes today, though. You saw the ratio there for Skaggs.
And James Mccann has himself in a really nice fastball friendly count. If that's what Skaggs decides to throw him here. He did. McCann was all over it.
Bullpen working for the Angels. It's Cam Bedrosian, the son of Steve Bedrosian.
His dad was a good closer.
Sure was.
In the big leagues for a number of years, primarily with the Atlanta Braves.
And he had the beard too, just like Cam, right?
Yep.
Mccann all over that one too. We hear you talk about that, you and Simo and Gibby, about being right on it. When you follow baseball, if you're following it back like that, does that mean you're barely missing it? What's the difference in that?
Well, you can tell by the swing too, and you can tell a lot of times by the reaction of the hitter as to whether he was on that fastball or not. And a lot of times they're predictable counts like 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. And you're absolutely right. When you foul it straight back and you got a really good swing at it, you know you were right on that baseball, just missing it.
This one launched to left, way back. And Upton knows the park well enough to know exactly where he was, 2 feet away from the left field wall. Stay tuned to Tigers Live following the game, where we will select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game as presented by McDonald's. James Mccann, no doubt the early clubhouse leader, if you will. He hit that one square, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He's batting in that number 4 spot today and doing a very nice job of showing his power.
Here's Victor Reyes, who replaced Nico Goodrum in the 4th defensively. He gets his first at-bat of the day. Ron Gardenhire got him an at-bat the other night, more than one, because he started him, and he delivered with his 4th hit of the season.
It's very, very difficult to get Victor Reyes playing time these days. A Rule 5 drafted player has to stay in the majors all season, or the Tigers have to offer him back to the Arizona Diamondbacks for half of the money that they paid for him. But the reason why I say it's so difficult, Shep, is because, one, the Tigers team is playing competitive baseball. They're playing very well, and it's tough to get Victor Reyes at bats ahead of Jacoby Jones, ahead of Marte, ahead of Castellanos. So he really has to sit every single day, and it's tough for him to be productive that way. But that's just the hand that he was dealt. It is much, much easier to have a veteran player in the big leagues and then have that guy play occasionally, pinch hit, pinch run, defensive replacement. Not a young guy like Victor, but Victor's part of the future here. We're rebuilding, and he's part of the future.
And Gardenhire told us the other day, if you're getting blown out, it's a lot easier too. Problem is, Detroit has not been in a lot of blowout games, either winning or losing in that scenario. We talked about it in our open. They've already played 22 one-run games, 3rd most of the bigs. Reyes swings through an off-speed pitch. 5-0 after 5. Tigers lead it. In conjunction with the 29 other MLB teams in Major League Baseball, the Tigers will now honor the fallen as we participate in a national moment of silence.
The Detroit Tigers and the Los Angeles Angels are proud to once again participate in the national moment of remembrance as we pause to remember the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. We ask that you please join us now in this moment of silence as a collective, unified expression of gratitude to the heroes who lost their lives while protecting the freedoms we enjoy today.
Plays of the game. Back-to-back at-bats today for Justin Upton against Matthew Boyd. And he's punched him out a couple of times and threw him a breaking ball there on a 2-0 count to get back in the count. And then he finished Jay off with a fastball looking. Next time, 4 straight off-speed pitches, 2 curveballs, 2 changeups. And then he fell behind, came back with a good fastball that he swung right through. And then he struck him out again on another fastball, looking on the outside corner that time.
See if you can do it 3 times in a row.
If you're Jay Up, you don't know what you're going to get from Matthew Boyd this afternoon.
He's giving you everything. Caught the corner on the inside.
Starts him off with that really slow breaking ball. Most guys aren't going to swing at that 70-mile-per-hour breaking ball.
Upton coming into the game against Detroit in his career, batting .310. 0-2.
Yeah, 1 pitch breaking ball inside, then he crisscrossed that pitch with a changeup fading away. Looks like Jay Up might be getting a little frustrated at Matthew Boyd here today. And Justin Upton played here for a half a year last year, so he saw Matthew Boyd with a 93, 94-mile-per-hour fastball, but Matthew Boyd not displaying that fastball these days.
Upton has struck out 61 times this year. That's in the top 7 in the league.
Xfinity telling us that the top fastball today for Matthew Boyd, 92. 70 with that slow breaking ball.
Called foul.
Everything to Justin Upton for the most part today. It has been down in the strike zone. Good fastballs down. Good moving fastballs anywhere from 89 to 91.
100th pitch of the day from Boyd is outside.
Oh, this is going to be his last inning.
3rd time he's had 100 pitches or more in a game this year. Oh.
Yeah,
where was that?
The Tigers and the Angels probably have thrown the fewest games this year with the pitcher going at least 100 pitches in the contest. The Angels don't do it very often either.
Lost him. It was Coleman warming up for the Tigers. Here comes the visit from Ron Gardenhire and the decision. Lewis Coleman jumps into the fray here in the 6th with nobody down.
First
and a
time
runner
we've
at first.
seen Gardy in the uniform this year with a number 15 on the back. Warm day today.
Had a great story about him and wearing a uniform. We'll share that with you. Lewis Coleman, a guy who struggled the other night against the Chicago White Sox. Our Wallside Windows pitching change with a look at his numbers.
Yeah, that's the only time that he had been scored upon against the White Sox the other day. His earned run average coming into the contest was 0-0-0. But he hung a breaking ball to the young shortstop, Tim Anderson. Anderson hit it out of the ballpark. But by and large, Coleman's got the real good two-seamer. He's got a nice little slider. He also will throw you an occasional changeup.
One of 2 homers that night for Tim Anderson. One of 4 for the White Sox in their lone win in that weekend set. Pujols pops it foul.
So one thing that Blaine Hardy did a marvelous job of yesterday is slowing down Tim Anderson and also keeping Abreu off the base pass. That's one of the main reasons why the Tigers were able to win that game yesterday.
Yeah, you wonder how much he went to school on Francisco Liriano the day before.
Right.
You know, whatever it was, it worked. Pujols 0 for 2 so far today. A pop-up in foul territory. Mccann calls for it and has it.
And Boyd, while he was out there, he was pretty good. He threw 101 pitches. Didn't really give up any hard contact whatsoever, even though the Angels have some guys that can hit the ball extremely hard. Trout, Upton come to mind. But Matthew Boyd kind of pitched the way that he's been pitching all season, Shep. He kind of teased guys with the fastball. He kept it at the bottom of the strike zone. He threw lots of breaking balls in fastball counts. He used his changeup to the right-hander. So just a nice job today by Matthew Boyd. And the Tigers gave him some run support today, which is something that Matthew Boyd very seldom gets. That's our Comerica Bank game summary.
You're right. They do not give him much run support. Coming into this start, he was 4th in the league in that regard. Simmons grounds to short. Iglesias, quick hands. The turn in time. 6-4-3. Detroit is brought to you by USAA. Join USAA in honoring our fallen heroes. Many of those heroes with us on this breathtaking Monday afternoon. Alongside Rod Allen, I'm Matt Shepard. Trevor Thompson roaming Comerica Park. Detroit's done a nice job of getting to that Angels bullpen now because Tyler Skaggs is out, and it's an Angels starting staff that led the majors in May with a 2.45 ERA. James Mccann bowing up with his 3rd career grand slam. What'd you like about that at bat for Mccann?
Well, I love that at bat by Mccann, but I've loved the overall approach today by the Tigers hitters against Tyler Skaggs. He's the guy they knew they'd get fastballs against. He's also a guy that has that good breaking ball, primarily his best 2 pitches. He hasn't used very many changeups, but they made him get the ball over the heart of the plate. Then, of course, it was Mccann with the big blow here today.
So our wall side windows pitching change welcomes Cam Bedrosian, a 26th appearance for the Angels middle reliever.
He's got a big arm. His fastball will top out at about 95 miles an hour. He pretty much only has 2 pitches, fastball, slider. Fastball gets up to 93, 94. Then he's got that slider about 81 to 84. John Hicks, first base, swinging, grounds out to Andrelton Simmons for the first out of the inning.
Always helps a reliever when you come in, get 1 pitch, 1 out. This summer, the 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1 with every match live and over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. There's Jacoby Jones.
Had a good at-bat his last time up. Sliced the double the opposite way. And passed to Chris Young, the right fielder.
Big key for Jones has been his ability to shrug off some of the negative plays that he's involved with in a game because he knows he's going to be in there every day. That mental state that we've talked about, Rod, before, so important for a young guy like Jacoby Jones.
Well, there were times when Jacoby knew if he went 0 for 3 on any particular day that he would probably not be playing the next day. That's not the case these days with Ron Gardenhire as he's trying to instill confidence in the youngster Jacoby Jones. Jacoby knows if he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, there's still a pretty good chance he's going to be in there the next day. And that's how you get guys to get better.
Line drive right there at Cozart.
If Jacoby's
you were a manager before.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? How do you know when he needs a day off and when you need to keep that confidence rolling for him and put him back in?
Well, a lot of it's the eye test for the manager, but a lot of times the manager has to rely on the coaches too. You trust your coaches, and Ron Gardenhire, he trusts the people that he brought with him from Minnesota. Yeah. So they watch, and they're his eyes in the clubhouse. They kind of watch the body language of guys, and a lot of times it'll be the recommendation of a coach that will tell the manager, you know what, I think he needs a blow here today. He's been grinding pretty hard in the batting cage. I think he needs a mental day off, and that's when the manager will step in. But sometimes the manager takes it upon himself, though, to give that mental day off. I'll tell you something else here, Shep, after this pitch, that with all the analytics these days, after you play a certain amount of days, you get a day off no matter what, because they feel like you're going to be more productive if you get a day off after playing. I don't know how many days in a row. It could be 15 in a row. It could be 20 days in a row. But the organization will tell the manager, you know what, he needs a day today. He's played such and such and such and such amount of days in a row. And our metrics are telling us that he needs a day off so he can get back to being himself.
Trying to keep you fresh.
Exactly. I think days are done where guys are going to play 162 games a year. It's not only 1 or 2 guys a year that do it these days.
Right. Iglesias 7th in the American League as the most difficult player to strike out. Angels have a couple of those guys in their lineup as well. Victor Martinez another, although he's getting that day off that Rod just referred to. 1-2 pitch. Make it 2-2. Middle of the infield playing Iglesias deep. Both Kinsler and Simmons on the grass.
Kind of surprising that both guys are playing that deep because Iglesias has really good speed. He gets a lot of infield singles.
This one fouled back. It may surprise you, though, on who leads this team in infield singles.
Who does?
Nick Castellanos.
Really? What does he have, 3?
I think yesterday we had the statistic of 8.
8 infield singles already for Nicolas?
So, yeah. And there he is talking with Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera did some more work today.
You could tell Miggy's feeling better, too, because he's smiling a lot, Chef.
4 straight days of running for Cabrera. That's huge. This one fouled down the right field line, and that's what Ron Gardenhire said. He said, look, we get him 4 days of running, pain-free. That's a really good indicator that he's getting even closer. Now, he doesn't want to give it away because no one wants to put a timetable on it, but he likes the fact that Cabrera's honest in his assertion and honest on how he feels, and they're going to trust him.
Well, I think that's the best way to go about it. I mean, because the last thing you want is for Mickey to come in and then go out, come in, go out. So give him all the time that he needs to get healthy so he can be productive.
This one punched to left. It's going to drop in front of Upton for a 2-out single. They've done a pretty good job of staying afloat without their best hitter. Tigers face the Blue Jays Sunday, June 3rd at 1:10 p.m. It's Sunday Kids Day and Play Ball Weekend. All kids 14 and under receive a free play ball, pitch, grip baseball. For tickets, go to tigers.com. A lot of kids here yesterday to celebrate Kids Day. We hope you could celebrate this 4-game series with the Angels over the next few days. Come out and see guys like Pujols and Simmons and Trout, yes, and Ohtani.
Well, this much I do know. If Iglesias wants to steal his 8th base of the year, he better get a really big lead and a good jump with Maldonado behind the plate. Maldonado can really throw. He won a Gold Glove last year.
He's a big dude, isn't he? The size of him. Bedrosian in relief of Tyler Skaggs for the Angels.
Salvador Perez has had a stranglehold on the Gold Glove for catchers in the American League, but it was Maldonado that snatched it from him last year. This is a good count to run on right now, though, because the worst thing that can happen here, you got 2 outs. So if you get thrown out, no harm, no foul, because you got Machado who gets a chance to lead off the next inning with a fresh count. Right now he's 0-2 against Bedrosian.
Well, you'll probably also see an off-speed pitch here, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So you don't care if he gets thrown out here. You'd love to see him steal the base.
Right.
But if he gets thrown out, that's just the way it is.
See if he goes. Nope. And he got him looking. We're through 6 here in Detroit. On this Memorial Day, USAA honors our fallen heroes. All starts with Tigers Live at 6 right here on Fox Sports Detroit. And just a reminder, Al Avila will be in our booth in the 3rd inning. Luis Valbuena will pinch hit for Jeffery Marte. Lewis Coleman, who came in and relieved Matthew Boyd in the 6th. Promptly got a pop-up and a DP.
And Valbuena has pinch hit more than anybody on their team so far this year. He is 1 for 9 with 2 RBIs.
Behind in the count, though, 1-2.
Pretty good breaking ball there from Coleman. You can see the arm slot that he throws that from.
Coleman in his last 5 appearances, 1-0 with an ERA just a little above 2.8.
He's a nice veteran, though, Shep, to have in your bullpen. I mean, he's a guy that has some experience. He was on those real good Kansas City Royals teams when he was pitching in the bullpen. He throws from a tricky arm slot. You don't see many right-handers throwing from that sidearm arm slot with the 2-seam fastball and the changeup and also the slider.
Right, and the name probably doesn't ring a bell with a lot of people because they focus so much on Herrera and Holland and Davis.
Right.
And then, of course, anytime you used to think of the Royals, you thought of Kane and Hosmer and Moustakas and Gordon.
Yeah, but he got some valuable outs for Ned Yost and the Kansas City Royals.
And Rod, it's important to sprinkle in young players, Joe Jimenez, and veterans like Lewis Coleman or an Alex Wilson in a bullpen. First strikeout for Lewis Coleman today.
And a little change up there by Coleman at 83.
Now Coleman faces Ian Kinsler. We mentioned how difficult it is to strike out some batters like Jose Iglesias. We said a couple of Angels. We mentioned Simmons. Well, Kinsler is there too. He's 5th in the league in the most difficult to strike out per at bat.
And Kinsler having a difficult year so far at 175. Cole Calhoun, their everyday right fielder, also having a very difficult season. That's a good base hit by Ian Kinsler, though. After a couple of pop-ups, he got on top of one and laced it up the middle for a solid single. Yeah, first time we talked about Ian Kinsler, everything is about his shoulders. If he can keep his shoulders as parallel as possible, he hits more line drives than fly balls. The Angels pretty much were the only team that the Kinsler camp wanted to go to. They wanted to go to the West Coast. They wanted to play for the Angels. He and Justin Upton, they're best friends. So he was traded to the place that was his first choice by Al Avila.
And a team that needed him and could use him, right?
Yeah, and you know that he pretty much had to bite his tongue down the stretch because after Justin Verlander left last year, he kind of felt like he was going to be the next one out the door because, I mean, JD was gone and Avila was gone and Justin Wilson was gone and now Verlander was gone and JD was gone and Ian's like, okay, you know, which contender am I going to play for now? But he bit his tongue, and as I told you earlier, he continued to help Dixon Machado at that second base position, and he knew in the offseason that he would get moved.
He did tell me earlier today, he said, look, if I said I'd be more than willing to come back to Detroit and play that mentorship role, and I'm not going to take that back. I definitely would have remained here. He did enjoy his time here a great deal. And I think you'll find that most players, most athletes, not just baseball players, most athletes come here and feel that way. I tell the story oftentimes of a free agent Detroit Lion who was taken around their facility while their wife was taken out into the various parts of our city and the suburbs and the like, and before he signed the contract, she came back and told him, You sign here right now. That's how much she liked it.
Well, if the wife likes it, then you better like it.
Oh, you better believe it.
Because a happy wife, a happy life.
Spoken like a man with experience, my friend.
And 32 years, partner.
Good job. Your wife's a saint.
I know I don't run the house.
Nice pitch. Maldonado is furious.
He's going to get kicked out of here.
You know what? He's basically saying to Mark Ripperger, I want that. And now he's tossed.
I told you.
And here comes Mike Scioscia.
He might get tossed too. It's tough for a catcher to argue with the home plate umpire because you want those same pitches for your pitcher.
And now Scioscia's gone. And he'll get his money's worth now.
Well, the Angels have struck out a total of 6 times today, and 4 of those have been looking sharp. And a lot of times when you see that many backwards Ks, the players on the other side feel like the umpire is giving the opposing pitcher a little bit too much leeway. And I'm sure Maldonado probably got to that boiling point because he feels like he hadn't been getting those calls.
Right.
And that's just part of the game, though. Whenever you see a lot of backwards Ks, the opposing team's always going to have an issue with that particular umpire because they feel like he's giving the opposing pitcher way too many pitches off the dish. Well, let's see if Maldonado had a beef here. Well, it looks like it might have been down low to begin with, but it's a nice job by James Mccann taking the glove and just pulling it up ever so slightly. Look at the glove of Mccann. He takes it and just kind of pulls it up real slow to give the home plate umpire a really nice look at it. Nothing wrong with that.
Ron Gardenhire is going to make a trip to the mound. And he's in the mood for another pitching change. Angels have gone to their bench for a pinch hitter. Ron Gardenhire will counter move, and Mike Scioscia will move his way up into his clubhouse after getting ejected here in the 7th. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. By your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, visit ChevyDetroit.com and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Major League Baseball does a wonderful job of commemorating this special day, Memorial Day. We've heard some from families, those who support our troops in a number of different ways, those who have lost our brave soldiers as well. Wallside Windows pitching change welcomes in Daniel Stumpf for the 28th time this year, Rod.
And Daniel Stumpf, the last 2 times he's gone out there, he's pitched clean innings. So let's hope that he just continues to move toward that. He had been giving up quite a few runs in the month of May.
Cole Calhoun stands in for the first time as a pinch hitter for Chris Young. Actually, Young was on base twice, walked and singled. Instead, he's out. Calhoun, who has struggled mightily this year.
Yeah, last 5 outings for Daniel.
(2-0). There's Josh Paul, who's the first-year bench coach for the Angels, taking over now from Mike Scioscia, who was ejected for the first time this season for the 45th time in his career. And you may have heard some salty language while Maldonado and Scioscia were arguing with the home plate umpire. We apologize for that.
Are we going to have to go down there and wash their mouth out with soap, Shep?
Mom may give them a call and do just that. I don't know if you remember earlier in the Western Conference Finals between Golden State and Houston, Steph Curry said something, and
yes,
his mom actually called him and said, knock it off. And Mama's usually right. Calhoun takes the free pass. It's not what Daniel Stumpf wanted to do, and Ron Gardenhire has seen enough of it as well. There comes a point in a game where you say to yourself, I want this one, I deserve this one, I'm doing everything I possibly can. Buck Farmer will come in, he'll inherit runners at first and second, and Rod will give you his numbers when we return. Catching a couple of Tigers, 3 Tigers pitchers so far. Ram pick the stick update. If you took James Mccann with Craig Monroe, you feel pretty good right now. Everybody on the positive side of the ledger except for yours truly. I'm at even par if we were all playing golf together, guys.
Well, I feel good about the big swing from James McCann.
Yeah, you do.
Salami, touch them all.
You
Nice
took him
8-point
what?
run.
You didn't like. What pick did you have today? See, second pick.
Third pick
today. Yeah.
Well,
Hit well against lefties.
Mickey and Trevor got 3 points.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Trevor went out. You got to give Trevor some credit, though, man. He went out the box, man. He did not take Nicolas Castellanos for the first time. Nicolas had gone 12 straight days as the first pick.
You know we're heavy into numbers, fellas, when Rod starts charting Ram pick the stick first overall choices.
That's the day and age of analytics in baseball. There's a stat for everything, Chip.
I'm going to start yelling at our stat crew in the truck then. Mickey and Simo with Tigers live postgame with Trevor Thompson patrolling the Tigers clubhouse. Cozart follows it back. Buck Farmer. Wallside windows look at Buck Farmer, and Rod Allen, in certain situations, he's been pretty darn good this year. A couple of hiccups.
Yeah, really, first game of the year, he had a hiccup, and he had one other hiccup. But by and large, every time he goes out there, he gives the team exactly what they want. Fastball's been consistent at 95 miles an hour, but he's got a really good changeup. There's that changeup.
And gets a clutch out here to close out the 7th. Coming up, it's the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch. But first, Amy Gold with a rendition here at Comerica Park with God Bless America.
National Guard.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
The bases were loaded. Tyler Skaggs, a left-hander, pitching for the Los Angeles Angels, and James Mccann caught him. A grand slam. And Tigers have 5 runs in the game. They lead in the contest 5-0.
Why didn't I catch that celebration where they all got together and hugged behind home plate? That was pretty cool.
You missed that?
I did. Akil Morris is the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for the Angels. Just a little inside. Morris, 13 games with Salt Lake at the AAA level, 1-1 with a couple of saves. He was called from Salt Lake prior to today's game. This is a 3rd stint for him with the Angels. Shift on against Leonis Martin. Is this the first time we've seen that shift against Martin today, Rod?
It is the first time. You know, the last time he was up, they shifted on him. And actually, I noticed that they shifted on him last time, too. But if you noticed, Kinsler, he doesn't play as deep in the outfield as a lot of guys do when shifting on a left-hand batter. And the reason for that is Marte has pretty good speed. That's why Ian Kinsler's not back further than he is.
High fly ball to right.
Wow.
Deep. And gone!
Really? What is the launch angle on that swing?
A little giddy up.
I did not think that ball had a chance of getting out of here. There must be some wind out there blowing out to right field, because that ball just kind of got up there, Shep. And I was watching the right fielder, Calhoun. He just continued to drift and drift and drift until that ball carried out of here. Are the Angels saying that he reached over the fan in the first row?
So Josh Paul wants him to take a look at it.
It's a fastball right down the middle and a severe uppercut by Marte. You can see him looking straight up. Look at him. Usually that's a pop-up. Take a look at Martine's head. He looks straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up. And this ball carries out of the ballpark. I mean, really.
And they verify it is a home run. That's the 6th of the year for Leonys Marte. And the 2nd homer of the day for the Tigers.
That might be the fastest review of the year. 39 seconds.
Yeah. That's the way ideally you'd like it to go, huh? Castellanos, who singled and scored back in the 3rd. 1 for 2 on the day. Pops it up, shallow right. Calhoun puts it away.
Yeah, you can see that kid did not reach in.
No. But he made a nice catch, didn't he?
Yes, he did. What does StatCast have for us? A launch angle of 42 degrees. I knew it was way up there. You don't usually see launch angles that high or uppercut swings that high, whatever you choose to use. But it's funny how he looks straight up.
That young man's confused a little bit. I mean, right now he's on the phone. Of course, that's what kids do. But he's got a Tigers shirt and an Angels cap.
And his phone is blowing up right now.
Yeah, it sure is. All his buddies back home. Dude, you're on TV. Way. Like, whatever. Awesome.
He says, I might be on TV, but I'm at the game in the first row out there sitting with Nicolas Castellanos.
I'm waiting for Dad to grab that hat and say, put the right one on. Put the English.
Is that what you're waiting on, Shep?
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on. I'm not going to see it, though, am I? Simmons, no problem. Valbuena's at first. So he stays in the game. Calhoun's already got that right field put out. And Briseño. Jose Briseño now behind the dish after the ejection of Martin Maldonado. Man of the hour, James Mccann. Batting about 266 on the year, Rod, as a catcher, knowing that oftentimes they take as great deal of pride in their receiving and handling of the staff as they do with their offensive numbers. What's acceptable as a solid season for a catcher these days?
Well, 260 is not a bad batting average for a catcher. That's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. James probably would like to hit a few more home runs and drive in more runs. He'd like to see his power input go up. But also, most managers will tell you that primarily the goal on every day when you're catching is to handle that pitching staff, and the offense is a bonus. James is a proud man, though. He works long and hard on his hitting.
Got all of it in that first at bat.
Hardest home run he's hit of his career. And Martin back, Candelario back. Miggy's coming back soon. They're going to have the top of their lineup back intact here real soon, Matt Shepard.
Nothing but positives then. In case you missed it, Jordan Zimmerman had a Toledo rehab assignment yesterday. And Zimmerman was hoping to get to 60 pitches. It did not go, as Ron Gardenhire would tell us earlier today, as planned, through 38, but he's healthy. The bottom line is there was no pain. Now, there will be a decision to be made on whether or not Zimmerman will have a second rehab stint, but it was a positive in that regard for Detroit. Reyes with his first at-bat of the day, in for Nico Goodrum. Back in the fourth because of heat exhaustion for Goodrum. Mccann will try and take second and will without a throw. Reyes struck out swinging back in the fifth. Was originally a defensive replacement there in the fourth, and then his first at bat struck out swinging. So this is his second time up today. Wild pitch by Morris, allowing Mccann to take second. Reyes goes the other way. This will be a challenge for Upton. It's into the corner. Mccann will score. Reyes rounding second, hits the bag hard, hustles into third, and he's in there.
It's a real nice piece of hitting here by Victor Reyes, the youngster. He inside out to slider the opposite way. That ball's got some spin on it. Justin Upton, he leaves his feet for it. And once you miss a ball, if you're playing right field or left field down in the corner, it's going to be a triple automatically for that base runner because you've got no one behind you to back you up when you leave your feet when you're playing on the corners.
He wants that baseball because it's his first career extra base hit and RBI. John Hicks will try and bring him home. Good offensive display for the Tigers today. 7 runs on 9 hits.
The Angels just lost their first road series of the year, and that was to the New York Yankees over the weekend. They dropped 2 of 3. First series they've lost this year.
2-2 to Hicks. Yeah, their 17-7 start on the road is a franchise record for the first 24 games. Inning over, but a productive one for the Tigers. Leonis Martin with his 6th bomb of the year. 7-zip Tigers. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit. Proudly presented by Bell Tire. Great savings with a weekday value pack. 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 chips, and 4 sodas for as little as $20 per person. For tickets, go to tigers.com/value. Heart of the order for the Angels here in the 8th. Mike Trout, Justin Upton, and Albert Pujols. And it has been a struggle for all 3. Trout, only the 8th player in Major League history with 200 homers before the age of 26. Alex Rodriguez, Eddie Matthews, Jimmy Fox, Mel Ott, Mickey Mantle, Frank Robinson, and his teammate Albert Pujols.
There are a lot of numbers that you spit at us regarding Mike Trout, and the guys that you compare him to are the guys that a lot of people that we're talking to never saw play before. That means that most of those guys are in the Hall of Fame, the guys that names you're mentioning, which means this guy, he's on his way to the Hall of Fame as well.
First time he's facing Farmer here this afternoon.
I told you, Farmer not afraid to throw his changeup to right-handed batters. However, if he does throw that changeup to Trout, if it leaves it down, that's where Trout does most of his damage. 96 with that fastball by
that's good.
Buck Farmer. Yeah. Good fastball, good firm four-seam fastball.
Trout, a 6-time All-Star. Last year, Rod missed 39 games. Some thought he would have had the best season of his career.
Yeah, he probably would have won another MVP last year had he not been injured.
Unbelievable. And tight.
I like that pitch right there.
So do I. Make him move his feet, right?
Good pitch.
Yeah.
What's even better, though? If he went back in there back-to-back. It's the last thing Trout's looking for. And Buck overthrew that last fastball. Here's where Buck might, I don't know, he's got a 7-run lead. He might come back with a fastball. Then Buck might want a strikeout here. And if he wants a strikeout, he'll come with something off speed.
Back to the mound. Trevor Thompson staying cool.
It's rather warm out here, Matt, but I'm next to a really cool dude. His name is Mitchell Kemmerling. He's 14 years old. He's here with his dad, Matthew, who's in front of me. It doesn't get any better than that on Memorial Day, a ball game with your dad, unless you bring your glove and you catch a home run ball, which he did. Show the folks at home what you got there, Mitchell. Now, did you reach over the fence to grab that bad boy or what? Tell me.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. And they were wondering upstairs, you've got a Tiger shirt on and an Angels hat on, but you've told me there is a method to your madness. Explain.
I try to wear an Angels hat so the Angels player are more likely to throw me a ball.
He's got one off a home run.
That's a
Has
smart
anyone
teenager.
thrown you a ball throughout the game with your Angels hat on?
No.
So it didn't really work out. But it works out in the end because you're here with your dad and you got a ball. How special is that on Memorial Day for you this year?
It's awesome. I wanted to see the Angels so badly.
Why?
Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, yeah? No Ian Kinsler love? No Justin Upton love for some former Tigers?
No.
From the mouths of babes, guys.
He's honest. He's honest. That, you know what? There is that method to the madness. I hear where he's going with that.
Yeah, but he's got to take that shirt off, though.
Well, oh, that's a good point. Or cover it up. Yeah. You could take. What about when he wants a baseball from a Tiger?
So I mean, the guys are wondering. That's why you've got the Angels hat on, but then they see the Tigers jersey. Maybe you're confusing some people. You're just trying to split the difference there.
I don't think I am. I'm a Tigers fan.
He's a Tigers fan. And, guys, it all works out because he's got a home run ball here today. Any chance you can maybe get that signed, do you think? What do you think?
Who hit it? I don't remember.
Leonis Martin, his 6th home run of the year, and that's the ball right there.
I hope I can get it signed. I don't think it will, though.
Do you have any autographs from any Tigers at home? Any merchandise autographed, a shirt or a cap or a ball or anything like that?
I have a James Mccann autograph, an Al Kaline, and Alan Trammell.
Oh, some heavy hitters, guys.
Wow.
What do you think of that list?
That works, man. Those are 3 good names.
A couple of Hall of Famers in there.
One with a grand slam today, the other 2 in the Hall of Fame. You have any signed memorabilia at home when you were a kid?
Not as a kid, but I've compiled some as I've gotten older as an adult.
Yeah. I had an Al Kaline signed baseball. As Pujols swings through one. And I kept it in my dorm room, and I kept it in my apartment at college. And it was signed to me and my brother, to Matt and Todd. Best wishes, Al Kaline. Never forget it.
Right.
Unfortunately, I had a party one night.
Oh.
The next day it was gone.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, who steals a ball that is signed to you? Pujols goes the other way. Could be trouble in the corner, and it is. Castellanos hustles over to get it. Upton is going to be waved home. Castellanos will throw to second. The Angels are on the board. Albert Pujols with his 629th career double. That is 11th all time.
It didn't look like Albert took a full swing. It was more like a check swing. But he got enough of it to hit it down in the right field corner. He kept it fair. Look, that's just like a little check swing, a ball that he really didn't swing all that aggressively with, but yet, and he did the job. Justin Upton still has decent speed. Justin Upton wearing his pants up high these days.
Andrelton Simmons stands in against Buck Farmer. The RBI double for Albert Pujols breaks the tie he had in career RBIs with that man, Ty Cobb. 1,945 in his illustrious Hall of Fame career. Simmons scorched it inside the bag at third. Pujols will score easily. Simmons with the Angels' 2nd consecutive RBI double. Not much of a breath against this lineup.
And that's a breaking ball to Pierre that got right past and Candelario. And Candelario really didn't even need to leave his feet. He wasn't going to make that play.
Simmons with his 32nd RBI of the year. A couple of good shortstops out there at second base, conversing, Simmons and Iglesias. Having some fun talking to one another. Luis Valbuena now stands in. He struck out swinging in the 7th. Valbuena took the place of Jeffery Marte in that frame. One and one. Joe Jimenez getting loose for the 8th.
He was awfully good yesterday.
The rest of the 8th, I should say, just in case. Maybe the 9th.
He was good in yesterday's game.
Sure was.
Struck out the side in the 8th.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it was easy because nothing's easy at this level, but he made it look easy. How's that?
He sure did.
Yeah. Jimenez usually used in the 8th as that setup guy for Shane Green.
And with a 7-0 lead coming into the 8th here, I think what Ron Gardenhire wanted to do was see if a Buck Farmer could probably finish this thing.
Yeah.
But he had to get Jimenez up just in case.
Do you think this is Farmer's last batter if Valbuena gets on?
It could be. Yeah, big shift on Valbuena and Machado in shallow right field.
Full.
Yeah, the one thing that Ron Gardenhire just does not like, and most managers feel the same way, and the base on balls and late in games when you've got a lead.
Yeah, he wants opposing hitters to earn it. First and second now with one down.
Jimenez is ready.
Yep. And here comes Gardenhire. Buck Farmers Day is through. Joe Jimenez is just starting.
Yesterday afternoon against Chicago White Sox, pitching a clean eighth. He struck out the number 8 hitter and the number 9 hitter and then the leadoff hitter and turned the ball over to Shane Green. Tigers were able to win the series against Chicago White Sox, winning on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Green picked up his 13th save of the year. Jimenez now making his 28th appearance. That is tied with Daniel Stumpf for most in the American League.
He's been one of the biggest surprises on the team this year, to go from where he went from last year when he came up at the end of the year with that lofty earned run average to pitching the 8th inning this year with this much confidence and this much domination on certain nights.
Well, what's been the difference?
Well, they showed confidence in him in spring training. They basically told him from the word go, be ready. You're going to make the team and you're going to pitch late in games. But also give Jimenez credit because he pretty much spent the entire winter in Lakeland, Florida. The entire winter.
Yeah, he's serious about his craft.
In Lakeland, Florida, getting himself in shape, getting mentally prepared to go out and perform this year, and he's done a very nice job of doing that.
Last 5 outings, 4 2/3, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts in his last 5 outings, over 4 2/3 innings. That is domination.
27 strikeouts, just 7 free passes given away by Jimenez. If you think about it, Shep, he really had nothing to prove in the minor leagues. I mean, here's a guy that was breezing through A-ball and Double-A and pitching very well in Triple-A at the time of his recall.
Right, overwhelming everybody. Yeah.
He's thrown Ian Kinsler a couple of breaking balls, and Ian Kinsler has not been able to pull a bat off his shoulder. He going with 97 now.
Lofted to left. Reyes at the warning track. Hauls it in. Good aggressive base running by Simmons on the tag up. MLB at Bat is your #1 Detroit Tigers app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Detroit Tigers home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Jose Briseño up for the first time today. He replaced Martin Maldonado, who was ejected for arguing balls and strikes last inning.
He got his first major league home run a couple of days ago in New York. Had a lot of family and friends in attendance. Yeah, Briseño.
Popped it up. Iglesias has a beat on it. And that's that.
Ooh, Victor, calm down.
Angels plate 2. Tigers lead is 5. Joe Jimenez does his job. Continues tomorrow. Here's the upcoming pitching matchup brought to you by Wallside Windows. Michael Fulmer back for the Tigers. Nick Tropiano for the visitors.
It was nice to see Michael Fulmer in his last outing last Wednesday in Minnesota get past 100 pitches. That was the goal going into the contest. And he was able to do that, and he also won that game. And Michael's been chilling on the bench all afternoon.
2-2 in his career against the Angels as he looks forward to that Tuesday night affair. We'll be on the air with Tigers Live at 6. And a reminder that Tigers general manager Al Avila will join Mario and Rod here in the booth in the 3rd.
And Michael threw a lot of fastballs that afternoon against the Minnesota Twins, and most of those fastballs 95 to 97 miles an hour.
Will he do that tomorrow, do you think, against the Angels?
I think he will strategically use his fastball against this really good lineup. That's one of the things that Michael likes to do when he goes up against good lineups. He's not afraid to use that fastball. He also has that slider as a really good weapon, along with the The changeup. And Jacoby Jones. And he should get a really good fastball to hit right here.
Pounded. Does it have enough? No way. But it does drop in for a double.
Jacoby thought that ball was foul, but it didn't matter. It's a ground rule double anyway.
I'll tell you what, Rod. I thought he hit that harder. I mean, it got up in the wind. It was, Martine's got up in the wind too, and it would carry.
Well, Martine went the other way.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That one got knocked down. So you're absolutely right. He did hit it better, but the wind in left field is blowing across toward right field, so it knocked this one down. But the one Martine hit earlier in the game, it got up in that jet stream blowing out to right, and that was able to carry out.
Second double of the day for Jacoby Jones.
Jacoby thought the ball was foul.
Justin Upton get a late break on that, do you think, Rod? Or?
I'd have to look to see where he was playing to begin with. But the ball stayed up a long time. Justin's a good outfielder.
Jose Iglesias, who singled back in the 6th. Off the glove of Briseño, and Jones trots into third.
And Briseño got crossed up there. And by Morris, he was expecting something else, it looked like to me, by the way he went after this ball. Take another look at it, but he got a fastball. He wasn't looking for that fastball. He was looking for a breaking ball. He's lucky that that ball wasn't thrown right at him. He is not happy right now.
Come on, dude.
That's the one thing right there, Shep, that I heard is the reason why catchers didn't want the new mound visit rules to come into play, because a guy comes into the game or catcher comes into a game late. This is Briseño's second inning of catching. Right. And they're not on the same page as far as the signs are concerned. And that's the one thing that catchers talked about. Mccann even talked about this in spring training. He says, if I get a guy that comes in and it's a young pitcher, you know what, I want to go out there and make sure this guy knows what signs were going on for that very reason that we just saw.
This could be trouble if it stays fair, but it's foul. This is game 4 of a season-long 12-game homestand for the Tigers.
It ends with a doubleheader against the New York Yankees on Monday, June 4th, the same day as the amateur draft.
How about Gleyber Torres and what he's doing?
He's a special player. Special player.
They've moved Didi Gregorius down in their lineup. He has struggled mightily. What was it, 3 or 4 for his last 70? They pushed him down.
When we saw Didi Gregorius at the beginning of the season, boy, he was looking like the MVP of the American League.
Yeah, stroking it. Right back up the box and an RBI single for Jose Iglesias.
Do it, Iggy.
Two for 4 afternoon for the Tigers shortstop. There's Shohei Ohtani on the left with the baseball cap. And you heard that youngster talking with Trevor Thompson in the last inning. That was the second name out of his mouth on why he wanted to come see the Angels play. Wanted to see Trout and Ohtani. Ohtani talks after every single game, by the way. Yeah, maybe Miguel Cabrera right there. He might jump back into that Tigers lineup, but Ohtani talks after every single game. He'll do a press conference in Japanese and in English, which I found interesting. Oh, 0-2 on Dixon Machado. Walked and scored in the 3rd, grounded to short in the 4th, and struck out looking in the 6th.
Well, when they go on the road, that would be the Angels. They play in front of an average fan attendance of nearly 30,000. So I'm sure Mike Trout and Ohtani are a main reason why a lot of people come to the ballpark to see the Angels when they're not at home.
This one is launched into the corner. That is down. Good speed for Iglesias. Dave Clark wings him home, and Iglesias will score without a throw. The Tigers get the 2 right back.
You know, we talked about Dixon Machado a lot the last couple of days and the fact that they're trying to get him to use the big part of the ballpark, whether it be left center field or right center field. But every now and then when you get that slow breaking ball, that change up, it speeds your bat up, and your bat just happens to connect with the baseball out in front. So he had a good approach, Shep, and he kept the barrel of the bat in the strike zone a long time, and he just happened to catch that change up out in front for another double. And with Iglesias running from first base with his speed, no problem for Iglesias to come all the way around and score. Tigers are banging today, and I love the fact, Shep, that they continue to score runs here today. A lot of times the Tigers score 1 or 2, 3 runs early, and they kind of shut it down. Today they haven't shut it down. They've continued to put really good swings together.
Well, Machado the last couple of days looks like he has the swing back that started the year that allowed him to climb close to those now what is 10 doubles on the season. Marte, who homered his last time up. It shows you the mental fortitude by the veteran Marte, who struck out swinging in the first and third, and then a little foul to third, or a pop-up I should say to third. So hopefully back on track at the top of that order. 0-2 to him. We had mentioned Ohtani, who's batting .291 for the Angels and is 4-1 on the mound for them. He does have 6 homers on the year. That ranks tied for third among American League rookies. His 20 ribbies are 4th among American League first-year players. The AL Rookie of the Month in April.
Well, they're just going to watch him very closely this year because he is doing something that we haven't seen done at this level consistently since Babe Ruth played, and that's play offense and also pitch at the same time. So yeah, they're going to watch him close this year. They probably want to keep his innings to about 140 to 160.
Marte with a line drive and a nice spear and a double play. Good heads-up move by Valbuena. There's the numbers we were referring to regarding Ohtani, who spent 5 years as a member in Japan's professional baseball league and won a championship, was a 5-time All-Star in Japan. Might see him on Wednesday on the mound. Castellanos lost one to left center. Upton drifting over. And that'll do it for the Tigers' 8th. They'll try and close it out with a 7-run lead after this.
you're just joining us, James Mccann broke today's game open in the third with a grand slam, the third of his career. It was 5-0 Tigers. Nicolas Martin added some insurance in the seventh with his 6th home run of the year, a high fly to right that just got out. That made it 6-0 Detroit. Matthew Boyd on pace to pick up the victory today, went 5 scoreless and struck out 4 and kept the Angels off balance all afternoon today. So really, as you look at this game as a whole, a lot to like from the Tigers' perspective here this afternoon.
Yes, sir, Mick. There's a lot of clutch moments in today's game. Stick around for the post-game show. I'm going to tell you my clutchest moment of the game.
All right, we look forward to that. Plenty of offense for the Tigers today, and Matthew Boyd will explain how he was able to keep the Angels off balance here all afternoon. Coming up on the post-game edition of Tigers Live, immediately following the final out. Shep, Rob?
Yeah, a really tough lineup to keep at bay, as you guys mentioned, and Matthew Boyd and Joe Jimenez doing their best to do just that. Boyd pretty solid. Last 14 starts now, that ERA right around 3. 10th best in the American League over that stretch. A batting average against of a little over 200. 9th best in the American League over that stretch. Popped foul by Calhoun.
And Calhoun has struggled from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, big time.
And batting just 154 with 1 homer, 11 driven in. And no doubt about this time of year, you're heading into June here in about a week, you start to press as a hitter. I mean, really, you don't press that much in the month of April. But if you still go through the month of May and you're still hitting under 200, you start to press a little bit because it's going to take a long time to get that batting average back up to respectability.
All right, let me ask you this, because you oftentimes help me understand whether a guy's still striking the ball well. Despite those offensive struggles, Fangraphs.com says 36.5% of the hard hit percentage is the highest of his career. Does that matter much to you?
Well, I mean, those are part of the game these days, the metrics part of it. Used to be back in the day, Shep, when a guy was, 1 for 15, 1 for 20, you were struggling. But nowadays, the analytics people, they find ways of making it not sound so bad when you are 1 for 15, 120, because they say you're still hitting the ball hard, but still as a hitter, you want those hits, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
You want the hits.
Warwick Saupold in for Joe Jimenez. I would guess the 2 runs scored in the 8th for Detroit may have swayed Ron Gardenhire's decision there, or do you think that was the plan all along?
To use Saupold in this inning?
Yeah.
He was going to use Saupold at some point in time today. I don't think he was going to use Joe, though. He was not going to use Jimenez.
There's the difference. Gotcha. Cozart, he's the leadoff hitter. They've quieted him on this Monday afternoon. He's second in the league, second only to Mookie Betts in batting average during the day. Read into that what you will, but still 422.
Had a good year last year. We told you that Cozart made an all-star team last season for the Cincinnati Reds, playing shortstop. And trying to make the transition from the National League to the American League sometimes could take a little bit of time. Also playing a new position. He had never played third base.
And when you're not taking
at any level.
Yeah, you're not taking the place of the guy who's their shortstop now, as we've talked about.
No, you're not.
Two and two. Angels have been held to 3 runs or fewer in 11 of the last 5 games.
Yeah, offensively they've struggled.
Yeah.
And the one thing about the Angels, they understand they are probably in one of the toughest divisions in all of baseball, and they got to turn it up a notch. You know, that Seattle Mariners team has already made a move.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And
they've acquired Denard Span. They also acquired a closer from the Tampa Bay Rays.
Grounder to short. Iglesias very patient, and there's 2 down.
You know how
Segura's
good
had an unbelievable year. Right?
You know how good the Houston Astros are.
And best team in the game.
And how about Oakland, man? Oakland's above 500 too, so that's a competitive division. When you start looking at all the numbers, 4 teams over 500. in this division, there's only one team over 500, and that's the Cleveland Indians, and they're just one game over.
Yeah, so the A's would be leading the AL Central. Chance to end it with Mike Trout at the dish.
They've been able to keep him quiet the majority of the afternoon.
0 for 4 with a strikeout back in the first.
I don't know what Trout's overall numbers are against the Tigers in his career, but they're not that great. And the reason for that is the Tigers have had great pitchers. I mean, he's had to go up against Scherzer, Sanchez back in the day, Verlander, Price, you name it. He's a great player, but those guys are really good pitchers. Verlander's going to the Hall of Fame, and Scherzer might be going to the Hall of Fame as well, what he's been doing lately. So that's one of the reasons why Trout's numbers against the Tigers in his career have not been great, not like he does against other teams.
This one smoked to left center, though. Deep, a lot of power, and gone.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mike Trout might look up to our booth and say, "You were saying?"
No, they've been keeping him quiet. He's a good player. There's no doubt about that.
That leads the American League, the 18 homers.
And if you notice, Southpole is not Verlander, and Southpole is not Scherzer.
I'm not going to confuse them, am I?
Well, maybe. I mean, those are the names I threw out there. And that's a ball at the bottom of the strike zone, and we talked about Mike Trout. He loves the ball down, and he destroys balls that are south of the knees. I mean, this guy's strong in those legs and his leverage and his swing, and you name it. Everything about it.
114 miles per hour to leave the yard.
That's pretty much a line drive out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
You have to travel 440 feet.
Impressive numbers from Mike Trout, who, by the way, owns 2 10-plus WAR campaigns. Only Ted Williams has had more in his first 5 full seasons. He had 3 of them. 9-3 Tigers. Justin Upton singled and scored last time up.
Oh, Mitchell's got a new lid on now, I see.
He's got the right lid on now.
You made him feel bad, Shep.
I'm just helping him. I'm trying to help him. That's an assist. They call that an assist. Line drive. Tigers win it. Job well done by Matthew Boyd and James Mccann on a special Memorial Day. Let's send it to the Coliseum Studios. Mickey York, Craig Monroe standing by for Tigers Live postgame. Fellas?
All right, Shep, thank you. The Tigers crushed the Angels today. We'll look back at James McCann's